it go. Let 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 it go. Yeah, let it go. Yeah, let it go. Yeah, me let it go. Master Jesus, let it go. Yeah, me let it go. Go, 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 go. Oh, let it go. I'm tired, let it go. Give it up to Jesus. Let it take control. Just sit and watch it. I know it hurts you, and I know it's painful. No way to wait, so you have to let it go. Your best friend is like a secret enemy. Your wife is getting married to another man. Your husband fall in love with another woman. Don't let it bother you. I say let it go. If someone overlook you because you live in zero, if they insult you because you don't have nobody, if you say you will continue to be a solo, if you say you will continue to be a prostitute, if you say you will continue to be a beggar, you will not marry, you will not bear your own children. If you say your knee is borrow, some nepo committee, mommy can say no, Johnny, ginger. Just let it go. Jesus will change your story. Let it go. 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 Let me let go, man.
Yeah. Mighty blow. Hello. Nobody do it like you do it. You a true God. Yes. You always tell me when I say my prayer with few words. But Jenna said, if they plenty in this new world, be the power every day. That while I'm still a good boy. Jehovah bigger than your problem, so just let it go. Just keep on praying, he will make your blessing overflow. To be the best and more the rest, you gotta pray more. The God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of mighty blow. But there is power in your blood. I want to give you praises. Yeah, I gotta think that David did. They think I'm getting crazy. But love is how you make it, brother. May not be yesterday. Every time I sin, I'm on my knees, begging God for mercy. Thank you for your love, blessing, and forgiveness. You solved my problem, Lord. You took me from the wilderness. Now only you can feel my struggle when I'm very stressed. So my papa bless me, then my enemy they get it best. No matter what the problem is, man, just let it go. The delay is not your denial. Everybody know. Just keep on trusting in Jehovah. He will give you more. He took me from the grass. He can take you from the rock and roll. Yeah.
Let it go. Let it go. Your people are suffering, lying in the hospital, suffering from all kinds of sickness. Lord, that sickness that empowering you. I say, let it go. The barrenness, pack your low and go. Living the life of joblessness. Let it go. I say you spread suppression. Let it go. Spread of denial, spread of depression. Let it go, man. Oh, I'm tired. I can go and if your begin, take your chemo. Let it go. Your best friend, take your husband. Let it go. If your wife say we are not compatible, let it go. Your husband say you're not my type, just let it go. If someone here for you before, yeah, they kill your mother and they kill your father. They kill your wife and make your children homeless. Oh yeah, they kill your husband and your children fatherless. Let it go, let it go. Mama, let it go, yeah. Papa, let it go. It is people let it go. You borrow someone your money. Oh, mama, they don't want to pay. You have become a boo-boo. Your best friend is now your secret enemy. Your money long, don't even want to see you. At your job site, they call you good for nothing. I say in your family, they call you useless.
Good evening, good evening.
For one day, Jesus will make you useful.
Good evening, good evening. So I want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe who let us go, let us go. This is by Liberian gospel artist, Minister Jemima Walker is based in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. How many of us so easily can let it go? Welcome to the show. Today is Friday, TGIF.
So let it go.
I want to welcome Munam Sabat. Good to have you here this evening. Mr. Thomas Johnson is here. As this is a liberal progressive, please give me a break. Good evening, deliberate. Sese Goya is a senior analyst at the Liberia Public Radio. Good to be here. Francis Pate, please just hit the share button and invite someone. Lpr-Tv Live with the analyst comes on to right here to right now. Mr. Jolie, welcome to the show. This is the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. What a beautiful song here. Liberian gospel artist Jemima Walker is based in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia, adding pageantry to tonight's program. Lpr-Tv Live with the analyst. I'm your host, your presenter, Tafoso and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv, based right here from the New England Bureau decks here this evening. The New England Bureau is in charge, not the Liberal. So for those of you who are the fans of the Liberal will be, we will take care of him here this evening. Trust me. Your civil liberties are being seized by the Liberal. They shall be restored. You will have the ability to tweet, to write your comments, to call in to agree and disagree. You will not be sanctioned. You will not be limited because the Liberal is the guy. He wants people to be his way. That is not the will of this network, and we will not allow. Okay, Mr. Johnson, a nice viewing to your show live from New York, that's from the Empire State. Good to have you here, Mr. Johnson. This is the first time. Well, you are well situated on the diaspora informative news outlet, Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. On this network, we speak the issue. We don't attack personality. It's not part of our conversations. We don't necessarily talk what you want to hear, but we tell you what you need to hear. And you are at liberty as well, proportionally to disagree with us. And you will see what I'm talking about here this evening when the panelists shall assemble cross countries from different states. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping here because it is you guys that get us to do what we are doing here. Atman, good to have you here. Victoria Collins, good evening. Welcome. I'm not sure where you are watching from, but if it is morning to afternoon or evening to your time, we say we are good to have. It's good to have you here. Mr. Tolgard Rich is good to be here. Mama Dude, Pete Soul. Okay, just take that W and I-E and that will become so as well. Here comes Mr. Richard Bauer. These are our prime time follower. Lion Tail Lion Yakon. I don't know whether his organization is still alive. Fire in protest, trust me, and we can have a rerun elections in Nima County. If you don't believe it, it's just on a protest morning. It's Honorable Ebenezer Eddie C.A. By the time if you call in the new year, then you won't pass out. Brother C.A., good to have you here. Joe Lee, good to have you here. This is the Diaspora Informative News Outlet Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. This is how we start the program. Welcome to the show. Good evening, welcome to the show. This is Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR. I am not an Oga. Do not call me an Oga. Everybody wants to be in the front. Who knows? Maybe we're in the guy here. We are hearing the list is being compiled, so we got to do everything possible. This lion teeth here is for a guy who tries to be a pain in the neck here this evening. I'm going to speak, and trust me, these teeth will disappear, and the studio know what I'm talking about. So if you call yourself, man, come here this evening and start your tap attack. All right, we'll get too much drama ongoing, and people stopping people from Capitol Hill confirmation, or you want to create another scene here. That's not going to work. Welcome to the show. I'm Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. This is the Diaspora Informative News Outlet, LPR. We represent the true colors of Liberia. All voices, it doesn't matter who you share your political ideology with, whether you agree or disagree. The only time your voice or your thoughts become limited is when the liberal is here. The liberal is now teaming up with some politicians from the Minnesota side who are gradually crossing over. But notwithstanding, we will stand here and counteract these people because they want to change the foundations and the basis for which this network was established. They try to transform this network into some political praise-sinking group. That's not who we are. We were at the start of the National Public Radio in the U.S. This is why you see some of our programs here, because we get that consent from. There's no public network. There is not. So when he wants to start doing it, if you think he's going to be another Prince Sharif versions of the LPR here, that's not going to happen. We will consistently, repeatedly call him out, exposing the guy he supported. Thank God he has won the elections. And so we're going to challenge him to make sure that he forms part of it because he's capable, he's competent. But when he sits in Sacramento, to which California as a whole, you know, I know in this state, if you're in the state, is one of the biggest liberal states. And he wants to be preaching and singing and dancing and doing that. It is unacceptable. He needs to go down to finish that rubber field. It is natural. Somebody mess, somebody got to complete another person's mess. You haven't seen somebody leaving dirty dishes in the sink and then you come, you scream, and you end up telling the other kid to clean it? Yes, somebody leave it there. He needs to go and clean it. Welcome. It's 8:13 Eastern Standard Time right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. If this is the first time, say you are wholeheartedly welcome. This is the network to be on. Entertainment is less here. Subscribe with LPR. Follow LPR. You can also make a donation to Lpr-Tv. You can also chat with us. 682-433-8802 and LIB Messenger for your views, your suggestions as to how we can enhance quality broadcasting on this network. It's not a talk show. This is a program. There's a big difference with talk show and program. So you know, and I know you know that. Welcome. Civility is the hallmark of this network. The followers, the participants, the onliners, trust me, they can engage. They can hold us accountable. We don't just say it and walk away. And not just only the onliners, the analysts themselves. No one is above the law on this network. So when you say you as a caller and you want to participate and you're saying something, make sure you get your information to right and rightfully right, because you will not walk free. If I miss it, trust me, 2 or 3 persons here, they will not miss, because they're going to call you out. We hold ourselves accountable. We are in a consequential time, so the information sharing is very, very vital, and that we need to be very, very careful. Not because we want to entertain people and say stuff that we can't back, we can't really. We say, of course, there's going to be a second session conversation. Of course, it's obvious in the news business, but we will make it crystal clear that this is what we are hearing until those informations can be validated. Is 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. There are folks here that happen to keep the wheel of this industry spinning. And so we're going to take a quick commercial break. If you are in the USA, in Europe, in Liberia, and you have a business, advertise with us. Let's form part of what you are doing. Let's get you at a different stage. In as much you want to beg, we want to work for what? We know what it means to work for money in this country. So we are not like one of those and just throw cash out or Zelle or go from and give. Yes, we ask you, but we want to do something in return, work for you so that you can pay us. Nothing free. I never found dime since I came into this country here. So you as well. So let us provide you the services that you need, be it convention, be it birthday, be it anniversary, be it any memorable event for that will you think you want to get it out there on the social media. Trust me, LPR is the network to hire. It doesn't matter where you are. When there's no way, we will find it out. Let's take this quick commercial break from what a long time friend, ally, who is helping to keep this industry spinning. Uncle Musa Grocery Store is based in the brotherly state and sister affection state of Philadelphia. Let's take the break and I will be right back.
Welcome to Uncle Musa Grocery, 6523 Woodland Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I'm a customer of Uncle Musa. I came here to get some things from grocery. Their things are so nice. They never get expired. They are the best quality. They have the best price ever anyone can get. They have so many things like cream, like meat, a lot of kind of meat. We have so many kind, and it's the best grocery store I've ever seen here in Woodland. They are located at the 65th and Woodland. If you want, I really appreciate you guys to come over to come and patronize with us because they sell the best quality.
Uncle Musa's Groceries on Woodland Avenue, 6523 Woodland Avenue, Philadelphia, PA. Musa's store is composed of varieties of African food as well as Americans, but predominantly African food. You have dry fish, you have cassava, you have yams, you have plantains, bananas, and Musa even goes out of his way to pay people extra to cut the potato grains for customers to save them extra time. We have deeper, we have fufu, we have the refrigeration center, then we also have cosmetics. This is a place to come in Philadelphia. If you come to Philly, you don't reach to Uncle Musa's Groceries, you have not made your trip complete. Welcome, and we look forward to seeing you sponsoring our business. Thank you.
This is Uncle Musa's store, 6523 Woodland Avenue. It's the only store, a grocery store, that deals with African stuff. Anything African things you can get in Uncle Musa's store. I am from Igbo in Nigeria. So, ndị Igbo dum, onye ọbụla wụ onye Igbo, ya bịa na Uncle Musa's store, 6523 Woodland Avenue. Ọ ebe ọ ga-enweta anything we ihe ndị Igbo na-eri. Welcome to Uncle Musa Grocery, 6523 Woodland Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Uh, the business we have a business on grocery store or African food, all West African food from Liberia, mostly Liberian food, and we have a palm oil imported from Liberia, and we have a very good customer service. If a customer buy from Uncle Musa Grocery, you get bonus certain times, and things are very reasonable. We have a good palm oil. Anything you want from Africa, West Africa, you can get it from Uncle Musa Grocery. We do retail and wholesale. So you can visit, we have a couple of stores in Philadelphia. We have one on 6523 Woodland Avenue, and another one is a clothing store on 6519 Woodland Avenue. And we have another one on Upper Darby, Gary Road. So you're welcome for shopping. Everything is nice. Customer service perfect. So
yeah.
that's it. Bye-bye.
This is how we welcome here. I do in a special way because you are a special person here. This is the Liberia Public Radio Lpr-Tv. I am your host, your presenter, Tafonso Zayenso. I am not a Nigerian. I decided to go in. Neither am I from Zaire, right? Good evening. We say welcome. By the way, if this is the first time here, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome. Perfectly situated on the diaspora informative news outlet, Liberia Public Radio, where your voice or your views and opinions. We don't sanction views and opinion here. It's only one guy who tries to do that because he wants for people to have his way. He claims to be liberal, but he has adapted this sort of Donald Trump side. And regrettably, some of my good friends who are on this network seems to pivot in his direction. I just can't believe. Okay. Let's do quickly here a quick rendezvous with the sole purpose of not making information fair proportionate. And we're going to bring one of our analysts. He's already here, Cecil Boyard. Let me just bring him in and then I can take a review here. Okay, he's based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Is this, which avenue are we on today?
Tonepa, Zanzakawa Industrial Boulevard.
So, the only joy you want.
The only job I want, I think a free man. Can you imagine a man at cheese or can steal a car, but break it, do nothing? A free man.
So there's people, there's Zoe and Medicine. Where are these people? By the time Gange, PYJ, Bolafire, all the things disappear.
It didn't disappear. You see, when people ask those statements, I can ask the same people to work can be saying it for government and say, we play all the things that end up beating Jesus in the street and dragging him around and God can't help him to. So it's the same thing. Everybody get their own label.
So how can you equip that with
But it may get power. They may have the same power too now.
That's one. It's a little sticky one.
That is same power. The religious, our traditional people have power. Gange overtook them. The Christians used to control Jerusalem. The Muslims came and took over Jerusalem, burned down the temple, and captured Jerusalem, the holy city. So where were they? So we can ask that question over.
Damn, those days when I was small, you play at Jerusalem, you thinking whether in the sky or yeah. To be small about Egypt, Jordan, and all of those places. Yes,
right there.
Oh
when you read in my book of Bible story that the how to call it, people get you Jehovah, people get you thinking that somewhere way in the sky. In my book of Bible story.
I'm telling you, my goodness. Okay, here we are.
But on a serious note, I really want that job. I think that's the only job Joseph can give me. I want to be head of the traditional council.
But how the hell you will sit in Minnesota? Where you going to lead a poor public school? They can't allow you. So you want to resign and go to be chief Zoe for Liberia?
No, we're making things virtual now. The whole world is one village now with the internet.
You relax
I'll be
in
the internet
the
zone. I'll be the
in
internet.
on the internet you were because in the day when you go teach,
Yeah, it's
you take the chief zone.
I would take my Basel Airline 737
Oh,
and
Lofa,
go there in there.
no, I think I want a Lofa Airway. You're gonna
No, the broom,
Westwa Airway. You're gonna
and
take.
I take the broom, then I Basel Airway. I get my broom, I go in there. I come back in the morning, I go to Minneapolis Public School.
So we're starting here. We go up.
No, but
Okay.
no, it's nice to see you. I like the outfit, but man, you and the Liberal are doing something to all on the platform now. We gotta
No,
start.
I want him to see that. Oh man, like he can't. That's why he waiting. I don't understand this guy. For some reason, he too old for that. Small boy, almost welding, and then he can't. And he swears the whole thing, but he doesn't have this. So let me see what you're gonna put on this evening. But thank you. I'm a chief son too now, so sometimes I will love doing this one. When you see that, then the man won't go grand get it. They missing home.
I watched the show yesterday. You were on a zero thing again yesterday. 1 minute the engineering talk can be zero. Then after that, you throw in the tabata.
You know what you do for me? When you see him with a plenty tabata, just in the morning, call him. When the guy picking your phone, get those people, get somebody up in Tiro, you now brush out of 500 acre and fell trees and all of that. He can't even answer it. Look at you not talk to ordinary. You wake up. Okay, good. Cece, good to have you. To all our viewers and listeners across the globe, wherever you are, I will say thank you so much. We are wholeheartedly glad to have you here. If this is the first time, this is the Liberia Public Radio to Lpr-Tv. Subscribe with Lpr-Tv. Follow Lpr-Tv. You can donate. Why people don't give up money? Is that because we can't cost people or what? I've been wondering though.
I think it's our business model. Our business model, we have to recheck our business model. You either causing man costs or you quote unquote dragging people and you become a passive network that a business model that get people to give you money. I don't
think we're too far. We're too much. We can't do that. Yeah, that one there. I think I'll do. Like we've been doing. What is parable? They get a parable here. Tiban even have this flower before door ear car. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but they have some good ones here. I don't blame them. People been giving, and except that people are not being so critical to where to give because politics and a lot of things involved. People want quick redemption, to want quick fix, and so anybody say anything say we want to do this, but this is not what we're going to do. We ask people they want to do it, they give it at their own volition. We don't have to lie. We don't have to make up anything. We don't have to buy them off. We critically to discuss issues. And analysts hold them, so we hold one another accountable on things that we say. Let's do a quick review on some of the news making headlines, and we're going to get right down to the wire. Senegal Constitution, Council ruled opposition leader Sankos. Presidential filing incomplete. Yeah, Africa is not gonna play. Well, France closes embassy in Niger until further notice. Senegal Supreme Court reject opposition to leader Sango's appeal of liberty. What? Conviction? Ooh. Sierra Leone charges ex-president Cromant treason over Kobe. My goodness, what a draft free. Listen to this one here. Burundi's president say homosexuality from the West calls for stoning gay. President call on citizens to stone gays. Can you imagine? Okay. Good evening, Cece Goya. Good to have you here. Thank you for all what you do, your expertise, as usual, provided on this network here. Good to have you. Happy Friday. How you doing, my dear brother?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy Friday. It's always nice being on here. They say I guess somebody they're in my inbox when they're trying to scam me and telling me they lost their Facebook page, but Facebook with a new phone, they must send me
the code. You must say your phone number.
Code for me to say that.
You don't know who they're talking to.
And now I'm chatting with right now. He wants to send me the code for me to say that. So I said, okay. I just said okay. Let me say the code. So
Yeah, they get the other one, DHL. Yeah, somebody the other day, DHL. Oh, you're not here, but the DHL I got 65,000. So I say, no, yeah, give me $100 in the meantime. Let me borrow it. When it come with either battery, I do money double. I give you 10 of them.
The other day, somebody gave me that thing. I said, "Where are you? What country are you?" I said, "In Nigeria." I said, "So is there a Department of Homeland Services in Nigeria or the U.S.?"
Oh, he was brave to say he's in Nigeria?
Yeah, he said the U.S. I said, "But I'm in Liberia. Do I get it?" He said, "Yeah, the U.S. government gave it to you." I said, "Man, move my inbox."
I don't know the thing people are doing. Okay, well, I mean that's the beauty of the world. And when these things, in the absence of these things, then the war is incomplete. You know, you gotta get all kinds of character people that will make the society to be good. Well, if you are like dumb, they hate you, and then they are power board. It is what it is. Okay, my dear brother, good to have you here. It's good to have you here this evening, as usual. We really try. Let me, yeah, we're going to get our other thing here. But, you know, sometimes when things happen, and for some of you, oh my goodness, this guy is here.
And Libra, it's always nice to see you. Yeah, thank you for adding spice here tonight.
So, wait a minute. Sissy, I can't believe what is really happening. Your ties with this Libra here, it seems it's accelerating, it's growing. You know.
Now, the only man I visited my office.
So what's about the person that visited your house, slept in your house, the person with it to
visit my office? I say what bad to visit my house. I just visit. You let politics too much. You probably.
Wow. The Liberal Progressive.
Thank you, Mr. So.
I got a shocking phone call today. It's quite amazing. For some reason, I believe you guys, all of you are administrator. I've come to realize the listeners, the followers from Liberia is in majority than that of US. For some reason, I want questions Zuckerberg, but people do listen. And this is why it's so much important, and I really appreciate everybody in as much we put fun into some of these things, because we've got to create this sort of conversation here, but we are always serious here. And they were calling with a liberal. You know when you teach somebody, yeah, the war is a big war. Yeah, some people do like that guy for whatever reason. You get a mind to call me Mr. So, yeah, Sonny, but the way you can treat labor. What do you mean by the way I can treat labor? The labor, baby, before. Are you serious? I said, why you call from Liberia? You know, the labor is our man. I like, oh, bye. I wanted to give you the thing I want here from you. See, I can't hear you. You're not getting no Christmas. Yeah, what you say? I said, tell me you're not a fan of labor. He man into The Liberal Progressive, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. So. Good evening, Sister Goya. Thank you very much.
Fans and all of our great people, Josh and everybody, it's good to have you here. Please just do all a favor. If you can just hit a share button. Sometimes it makes it difficult when we are on this live for you to do it. It's difficult, but if you can do that and invite someone at your company, but best, if you are not a follower to Liberia Public Radio, you want to keep yourself alert to things that are happening. Follow the page. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Twitter. We have a LinkedIn, the official website, www.liberapublicradio.com, also where you can get news content, both local and international, to know what is happening. Gentlemen, good evening. So just want to open this microphone, but we're in conversation with people. I mean, I have come to realize, yeah, the president really kicked the can down the road with this whole thing, all of this drama that is being created. For some reason, I don't know whether with all of these legal counsel to the president, part of that is to help the president in the decision-making things that you're going to do. The president, he does have an advisor. They have people who to talk to, or whether they don't listen, or whatever the situation with this whole thing, because I began to go in depth and I started getting at some things. You know, Over 8 months. 8 months, this guy got this information to the president asking for retirement. He didn't say he's going to resign. Well, somebody says they want to retire. We know what are we working for here? What is the age here for retirement? Is that 65 or is the boss 65 now?
It got increased to I think it is 67, 68 now.
Carl Liver. Jesus. Whatever it is. But this is what ultimately my argument, this is what everybody works towards, because if you retire, you get your full benefit. The guy is being on the bench and he said, hey, because of X, Y reason, I'm going to retire. This president, from all indication, from what we know, from what we are hearing, did not even reply to this guy letter, right? He came out using his executive power to whatever it is, place a moratorium, no appointment, nothing. And all of a sudden, came back from nowhere, how he revoking the moratorium because of X, Y reason for our land. That is the violation of the Constitution itself, in as much you have a right, but for you to impose something in without you doing it rightfully and come to a point, you didn't even get an advice from the Supreme Court. I'm surprised, Sissy, what they are doing as well.
Well, I want to be fair to the president. When you read the executive order where he places a moratorium, he said no new hiring unless approved by, and he said no new spending unless approved by. There were always an unless and unless. But the Supreme Court does not rule on the executive order. They rule on the constitutionality. And they're ruling that the reasons given by the justice rises to the level for them to allow him to retire early. So I don't know if that is their guidelines at the Supreme Court, because each of these branches of government create their own operating procedure, right? Like you have in the legislature. So I don't know if that's their operating procedure the one way, and I really don't know. I'm being very fair. I don't know what it is, but they are ruling that whatever the reasons they're giving for Justice Nambe rises to the level for it to be, to meet the guidelines for him to retire early.
So why he didn't revoke after issuing why he couldn't revoke that because of X, Y reasons? That would give us some sort of legal.
That is the problem. You're right. That is the problem I've been having, and that was the problem that even stumbled them in the Senate. He did not even write to the Senate,
right?
Inform them that there is a vacancy on the bench.
Exactly. This is what I was.
And so he gave these people who already didn't want to confirm his nominee. He gave them more time to keep the ball off the pitch and let time be going by. He gave that, and they had to ask for that. They would not even know that there was a vacancy on the seat on the bench.
So, Lebra, with this sort of drama, these things sort of protestation that we are seeing now, staff are coming in with their own the argument, and they have up to, I believe, Tuesday. If it can't get done Tuesday, c'est finito. Is that a French or Spanish word? C'est fini, c'est finito. How you call it again, Libra?
Finito.
Let's bring in. Yes, that's what a liberal patron come here. Wow.
You're in trouble.
And the reggae bishop knockout.
Come on, Pa George, and the Moja man, Mr. Collins. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. So. Good evening, Sissy, and to the Liberal.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I thought reggae bishop made the senior brother for my name today. You see, I make come senior brother, Sissy, but
no, but you're my senior brother. I'm sorry for that. Anyway, point of correction. Point of correction.
Hey, your own baby. You're the same people, so you're what kind of way you want for you that one.
I get them, but I didn't.
Yeah, so he didn't revoke, but Liberal.
Yeah.
I'm concerned now. All of the good political decisions, which some of the president folks are supporters of the CDC, for which they are upset with the president, with this whole thing coming out, seems to kill all of the good things that this president, this last minute of time thing, for some of us, say, okay, we need to, whatever happened, well, let it go downhill. But I don't know this nomination here. How it happens, who were the people the president had a consultation with? Especially, I just don't get it. I try to process this. 8 months, this guy been sick. He wrote the president to confirm, hey, this is this, you want to retire. Now, when somebody says they want to retire, they are talking about their benefits. You think the person want to work, whether that 1 day, 2 days, people entitled to that, whether the benefit can every month or 4 5 months, the idea is something going to be there at some point in time, it will drop. That's the language this guy was speaking. And this president had the opportunity long ahead before this whole election to create a saying, perhaps to a political bone in the throat of the opposition. He didn't do it. See where we are. And then
yeah, Mr. So for me, I look at this whole thing now from a different perspective. Just as some of us, not wholeheartedly, but from time to time, we would speculate during the election as to what a president we are really wanted to be re-elected because his action and the way he went about doing things did not rise to that level in terms of actually campaigning for this for re-election. I think this is the same thing here with this justice minister being appointed. I'm not too sure, President, we are really want this man to be the associate justice. And another thing that I look at, I think it becomes to me, and I could be wrong, but it seems to me that this is something that I would classify as being bio remorse, in that President Weah considered before the last vote was cast. And so, secondly, President Weah is quite aware of the dynamics within CDC with respect to Musa Dean. Musa Dean is hated by sedition. And so if you expect sedition, CDC to be a grassroots organization, and the base of that grassroots hated someone, so much so that they were calling on President Weah to dismiss him. And this is the same person now that you have the opportunity, but this is the same person now you're going to be elevating. So basically, what President Weah is telling sedition, and many of those that tend not to be in favor of Musa Dean, is either come with me or fall aside. So there's going to be a lot of issues coming up, and now those same sedition. So what are in the background? Are they seriously having conversation with their elected representatives, the senators, that still believe in this grassroots movement, that still have contact with the base? And so what are the bases pressuring them not to accept Musa Dean? Or are they now pretty much on the side like, well, the president saying now, so nothing we can do? So it is a very interesting situation. As far as the staffer, their action, yes, I mean, we all feel for them. But the issue is most of those senators are not coming back. So when they were in power, you staffer were good with them. Even if they didn't pay you 1 or 2 months, you're still good with them. But because they're out of office, and now you're coming to make these kinds of noise, which is I consider noise, and because there are other revenue, there are other means of trying to go after your money, your pay, what have you. So for you now to start booing people and try to disturb the sitting process of the Senate, the international community are also watching. And you have Ice Cream President, soon to be President-elect Ambassador Barker, to go out and lobby people to come and bring investors to come in the country. and you're going to behave like this, yes, you don't have the money. We understand that, but I think there should be some peaceful way of going about it than to stay in the face of some of these senators and boo them and then bring our money. You roll those type of things that come both well for our image. Now, I'm not saying that they're wrong to do that. They have the right to fight for their living wages. That's fine. But I'm just saying that we have to.
So what are you saying? Because you're ready to sound very ridiculous in the early stages of this whole program. What are you saying? You want to be here and there. What are you saying?
So I know you're running the show, but it's very, very early. Let the liberal learn. And that's why people complain about you, the way you treat the liberal. But let the liberal learn. So, but basically, Mr. Sona, very serious, the point that I'm making, if we're going to be involved, we're hoping to change Liberia. And you have some of the people that have the ability to be in the Senate. And in all this time, you have not gotten paid. And these people are getting ready to leave. Unless opposition, true opposition to Mossadegh, is asking the people to do this legally, which they have the legal right to do. But for me, I won't advise the staffer to do something like that because they have to look for the future of the country so that the investor will not be somehow jittery in terms of the behavior of the staffer.
Can I ask a question? I know all the other things the liberal talking about that investor. People looking for investor to come. Why are eating right now? People are looking for investor to come. You don't pay me the time away for other people to come. But I don't want a different talk there. But I'm not a liberal. You get it?
The liberal going to sound a baffled today. I like you to go ahead and go.
I want to learn, and this is truly because I don't know. The staffers at the Capitol, are they paid by the Senate and by the legislature, or do they get paid like every other civil servant through the Ministry of Finance and through all their process, or do they get paid differently? Because I've been really wondering about this, and I don't know. So even
the staff, they are civil servant. What happens? These lawmakers, they are given an alternative to bring in at I believe 15%. The last time when you went to Capitol Building.
They get paid by civil service.
Yeah, oh, okay. They're not the senators. They're not their own personal money, and that's why you see their offices all clustered like that. Yes, they are civil servant, but so Terry, let me just ask this question here because we're not hearing some of them are saying they are not being they were not paid. They see reason to government concerning all of the financial constraint, blah blah blah, the timing. So then, why they didn't tell their people? But is this another sort of political ploy as well, where we don't know who is responsible, but you use ordinary people who are there to say, you know what, go or calm down. Once we carry out this, the confirmation, the process will not go ahead. It's a political ploy. That's not what is pressing. Because I've been told, we hear to, but they were not here, but there are people that are behind the actions of these people. It will not be surprising, and we can say it, there are other people working, people are family, then there are people that are behind the scene. We have been told. Could that possibly be the case? Considering what is, because now the war is coming to an end. Nobody cares. They know the whole train is going down the hill. They know it's already down the hill. Do you think that possibly could be the thing that's another way that will kill this thing, whether committees or no committee? Because they have on a Tuesday. After Tuesday, and these guys, they are not backing down. They're not gonna go back. So people there, somebody is that. Do you think somebody that popping the volumes? You're looking happy. People doing that, Terry.
That's why I laughing because myself, it came to me as a surprise. But I want to strongly believe that this is an in-house propaganda. Wow. All right, for somebody to make sure to use these boys to stall the process until it comes. Because you see, today I was listening to one of the senators on Spoon TV just a while ago, and he said that he don't know where these staffers got the news from. He don't know where they got the information from, but they themselves have not received any money. And I believe him, because there were 2 senators that attested to that. But he said that these guys may have been may be doing this because they want to put pressure on the executive for the executive to give them their salaries, which make a whole lot of sense, you know, because they know very well that the 54th legislature is going out, and their sessions end on Monday, I think Tuesday, right? Monday or Tuesday on the 8th.
Not Tuesday. If no hearing Tuesday, c'est fini.
C'est fini. So what become of these people too, that their families, they have not taken pay for over 2 months, and you call for a sitting that they're supposed to receive certain stipends or benefits, and they have not received it. How do you really expect the people, and knowing very well that this particular Senate closes down on the 8th, what do you think they're going to do, Mr. So logically, these guys are taking a stand, but I want to believe strongly that it is also politically motivated. I don't want to leave that out to say, oh, nobody touched them, nobody do anything or so. Something is going on that we may not.
Sister knows. He doesn't want to tell. Sister knows, because I watched some of the images and I saw some of the senators, they're moving, they're smiling. It's like, yes, the roof is on fire. Right. We don't need no fire.
And they are very lenient.
The fire is burning. The fire is not causing no harm. Nobody is being to really burn. But nobody should. Yeah, this is Sissy. With this, who possibly could be the author or the creator of this thing here?
Look, let me tell you something. You saw the guy that he's using for the spokesman, Brown. And the same man that started that job, we are going thing like that.
The one who was using mask quite. Yeah, the guy got a man.
Isn't that the guy with a pot?
Yeah.
So
the guy who was going
with Henry Snow. The man was dealing with Henry Snow.
What kind of word? What kind of word?
I know that my man, I know him very well. So that you remember Soko Brown from Charleston day? That Soko Brown, brother, there is a stubborn guy.
Which are the Soko Brown?
The guy from Bowman County that used to be with Taylor.
Yeah. He said his brother?
Yeah. So
when you do nothing, a hell of a chickler in your marvel.
Oh, don't blow my man. So yeah. Yeah.
That's right. It's an interesting country, my man.
Wow. Remember on the show the other night, I told you that when we used to play football in Liberia, when you're leading and the ball go outside.
Right. You said
don't run behind. You don't run. No. It's like for your spectator and for your team to kick the ball even further down the side.
Right.
Because that stoppage the injury time, you can't have more time to stop the injury. Once you add the time, a delay. You remember sister, you test me, I'm feeling late and said the way I will stretch my bones, I will pick me up when I play.
The lady, one eyeball coming when the referee coming, then they throw their set down again.
The liberal know what I'm talking about because that's the strategy, that's the tactic. Look, this has some hands behind it. Wow. The plan is to ensure that time runs out.
Yeah.
But even besides that, they let these employees realize that we can pressure because we are really serious about these people you wanted to be confront. You will pay our money so we can move anymore.
Definitely.
If you saw their protest today, the men say they augmented their protest and they augmented what they're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
They initially were blocking one place, now they block 3 places.
Wow.
So now you don't only have the Senate telling you don't fast track this, don't attach time into it. We're going to take our own time. But you have the Unity Party through its chairman filing a suit to the Supreme Court, knowing fully well And the Supreme Court will tell them to go back to the Senate. But until the Supreme Court can say go back to the Senate can do nothing. Remember, Fanny Sherman said the Senate, the subcommittee were going to meet or going to discuss. That was flat. They didn't end of that meeting.
I'm hearing some staggering information, but that would not be a surprise with respect to Fanny Sherman. But my man, in that country there is something.
So Fanny Sherman knows that the last place he gets to survive that practicing law in abroad goes against the Supreme Court. You can be censured from there. He can lose his license for that. But beyond that, there are other lawyers on their committee that are not going to allow them to refuse the order of the Supreme Court. So now you got to wait for the Supreme Court final order to come through. And then you have to wait for these staffers to get paid to clear. Then this thing goes into committee and clear committees and come back to plenary all before Tuesday is over with.
Where that one will happen?
No time. Football will stay outside the field.
This is why did the president, sometimes, I don't know, they too have to create, they create their own stuff. Okay, I think the conversation going to get interesting here. Someone who support the president's agenda, but he's very straight. Sometimes he calls it as it is. He's our regular color, but he decided to surface here this evening. Let's see what's going to happen, how he and the Liberal are going to square it out. Nothing is guaranteed with the Liberals. Our own man, Elvis Morris, is here this evening. He decided to come from behind the curtain to join the crew here. Elvis, good to have you here.
Thank you, Mr. So, gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Hey, not pleasure to be with you, man.
Will you please be nice to guys?
No, but is this an AI generated image or is this we are calling man? You should know the man voice. So that man now let me see it.
Come on, Mr. I like it.
So okay, he's contributing here this evening. Okay, Elvis, good to be here. It's always good. That's the beauty of this network. We accept all views, and part of that we try to find to remedy some of the things that are happening and how these things can be avoided. Yeah. So, Lebron.
Yeah.
Well, let me just bring you in here. Why some of the Highlanders, anyway, they made their position clear. They vehemently against this sort of nomination. Is now holding no deeper water. So of course, they are celebrating within. They are celebrating what happened. Why your sister is not speaking out to say, hey, let the process play out? Why everybody's so quiet?
Well, like I stated earlier, Mr. So good evening, Elvis. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. But as I stated earlier, I'm not too sure if this president really the two nominations as to whether the president can really put himself and his leaned up administration behind these two people. I don't think so. I think President Weah right now, for me, it seems like a buyer remorse where you buy something and say, I don't know, say, wow, I think they think I buy that, something good. I think, considering the election with that much percentage and now people are saying all kinds of stuff or doing, so I think maybe the president trying to get back at people knowing full well that this thing is going to bring in a lot of what have you, but he has the Constitution weighing behind his back. So I understand that. But the fact that if I'm an opposition senator, I won't even say anything. I will let a court come in, make that decision, they send it back to us. In the meantime, the staff are there beating pain, and they say, oh, that's too much noise, we can't have anything right now.
You know what the guy is saying?
I'm hearing him. Although I disagree, but I'm hearing him.
Beating pen, and they say, okay, the senators say, oh, we can't do anything with all the kind of noise here. So we're gonna before you load the time, it was over. So for me, I think I stated something like that day before yesterday, where I said Musa Dean should do the honorable thing and ask President Weah to remove his name, withdraw his name from this nomination. And as far as the other guys concerned, they can leave him out there. He's just going to be like Zorizo. He's not going to get it anyway. Musa Dean, if he gets this position, he will be impeached. I don't know for what reason, but I just know for a fact that they will go after him. He's not gonna take. This is not America where you have what's his name from Kentucky, the man who can be talking.
Mitch McConnell.
He's not. There's nobody that would. You can't do the thing to Ambassador Baka and they let you go free. This is Ambassador Baka time. If the vacancies is there, let him have the opportunity. These are things through these type of appointment, you will know what exactly Ambassador Baka has for the country. He's been saying that he want to rescue. Now, this type of vacancies allow Ambassador Baka and allow the Liberian people to see exactly.
Did I hear you say it is Ambassador Baka's time?
Excuse me?
Did I hear you saying it's Ambassador Baka's time?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Eric, Elvis, I think you are well situated now. Because if I allow these guys, trust me, they are already making a plan to game against you. Trust me or not. And you know, you heard the liberal, it is their time. Using the words of borrowing the words of Vice President Joel Howard Taylor. This is what they are bringing to us, that they are on our time. Terry is in support of that. This is why he's not talking. Well, let me just bring you. I know ever you support the president's you support the president's agenda. But let's have a concrete and a holistic conversation relative to all these dramas that are going on. We are not getting much more details, information with respect to the social justice, specifically Justice Nambit, who wrote the president and asking to the president he wants to retire. And when somebody says, I want to retire, it means not just only going to walk away, but their benefit, their social security, other things that deal then. His president, your president, our president did not acknowledge his honored letter. Come on. 8 months, long ahead of time. It gives the United Party a good argument out of all what we are talking. If it is true, what we are hearing, if it is proven to be right, that he alarmed the president, and the president didn't say anything, he did write the Supreme Court of that same thing. And the president came say, and the president came back to say moratorium, no this, that, which is okay, that is constitutional right. But what I'm saying, when you make those sort of executive orders, anything, it has to be revoked and give reason why you revoke it and why you want to do. Who is the author of this drama that we are having now?
All right. Thank you, Mr. So. Pleasure to be on again. I think necessity constituted. First of all, you're looking at the late Arthur Donan, who passed away. So that necessitated him being replaced. It's a sensitive position that is tenured. So the president is well within his rights to appoint somebody who will be in the best interest of Liberia, but also in the same path or the same path of his policy focus. When it comes to the justice, I want to draw a parallel to the United States. People say Liberia is not the United States, true. But when you look at Justice Anthony Kennedy, who was serving on the Supreme Court, Donald Trump, I'm of the firm belief that this justice will lobby actually to retire, just like they did with Anthony Kennedy, who was a justice in the United States, who retired under Donald Trump. You know, the Supreme Court position is a lifetime appointment in these United States. Knowing that he was going through some health issues, the chances of him perhaps maybe passing on while a new administration was in office and opening up that seat to a Democrat, Joe Biden, the Republicans didn't want that. So they asked him to retire. It had been done with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the former justice who passed on. They wanted her to retire, but she refused, even though she was very ill. And she passed on during Donald Trump's, the ending of Donald Trump's tenure, gave him an extra seat on the Supreme Court. So I think this justice and other people around him knew that maybe he's in ill health. God forbid he may not live to see another 6 years, until George Weah can come back into power. So we'll give you a nice package. Go ahead and retire. We'll put somebody there who's competent, who is, within the president's policy ideas. The Supreme Court is a political position, a political appointment. When the president makes them, it's a political appointment. Don't Don't be dissuaded. Our, ideologically, we'll say, oh, there should be an independent place, but no. Presidents in these United States do the same thing. They appoint justices who are conservative based on their rulings, so that when key issues come up, they will rule in a favorable way to the president. That's what President Weah wants. Now, as a reaction, I would say, as a supporter of this president, I think Musa Dean is the wrong person to be.
You say you're what? Reaction?
I'm a reaction. I'm also a Weah supporter than I am of a CDC as a political entity. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the issue here is there's two folds. The issue of Vonnie Sherman, who is sanctioned, who has lost his seat, who has very little political capital, and as such, is also himself a lame duck. So Vonnie Sherman, make no mistake, is a very smart man, a very adept at lobbying his colleagues, whether it's through on the table dealings or convincing them to do the law because he's so adept within the law. He doesn't have that power. He doesn't have the goodwill of his fellow senators. So somebody who the president would have, leaned on to go and lobby for this position to be, nominated through a speedy process, that person's power has been very, very greatly diminished. So when you're looking at it, I think the president is in a position of, I won't say do or die, but if he loses both of these nominations, it doesn't go through, it makes him look politically weak. And that's why I think the situation with Thomas Dolan's position was justified. He passed away. There's not something where the president said he didn't put a caveat. Even if people die, I will still not appoint new people into the government. If somebody passed on right after he made that statement, of course, it's a change of position. You have to appoint somebody. It's a very sensitive position. So he was well within his rights. The individual that he put there, I don't think he's qualified. I don't think he's trustworthy enough to be there. On another platform, I made the same statement. People from the CDC was calling me and telling me, well, the guy said this, the guy said that, but I don't trust him. I don't think he's a credible individual. Somebody else with more integrity should be in that position. But the issue with the justice, I think, is well within the president's purview because he sees that he still has a political future in Liberia. He wants to be on the Supreme Court. That perhaps if there's a sensitive case that goes to the Supreme Court that has to do with policy direction of the country, he wants it to be favorable to him. American presidents do it all the time. The president wants to have, quote unquote, a we as Supreme Court. Whether it's going to pass or not, that was going to be solely almost dependent on Vonnie Sherman as the chairman of the judiciary. But now his power is diminished. More than likely, it will probably be stalled until these inauguration come and go. And I think Boyga will have at least one Supreme Court justice to appoint.
Let's put cap on your talking point before I pivot quickly to Tara here. It seems to me what I'm hearing, you wish the president would have done it much sooner. Let's put aside Nando, he passed away, but you prefer it as a reaction, you tie with that to give you a good argument, which of course is okay with me. I have no problem. But you wish the president would have done that much earlier, especially with Josh Nambe, because he elected the government, he elected the president 8 months ago. This is what is happening. And the president didn't respond. Was it that they didn't want to get his benefit, or what was going through their mind? Do you think if you had made that appointment maybe 4 months or 3 months ago, prior to even to the election, I don't think we would have had this drama that is unfolding. Do you think that was a little mistake on their part? Because he said he wanted to retire.
No, just to clarify, I think he alerted the president that he went for medical leave 8 months ago, and there was somebody appointed in his stead as an acting justice. But I think he announced that he wished to get an early retirement, a few months or maybe about a month ago after the elections. Am I correct by making that assertion?
No, he made it crystal clear that at some point in time he was, wanted to focus on his health or whatever he was asking. So writing that letter, asking the president that letter, something, what are you doing?
No, because he left the country for 8 months in Ghana for medical leave. That's what we know about when he was out of the country for 8 months, consecutive months. We know that. But then I think he asked the president for early retirement. Look, like I said, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a lot of people love her because she's a firebrand. She's a very smart and small, diminutive lady, but she's very wise and very, very feisty. So a lot of Democrats and liberals like her. But many people were lobbying with her to resign. She had a few surgeries. She had some strokes. She had some falls. She was really in bad, health. And many people wanted her to leave the bench because once you die, God forbid, and there's another president who is of a different political ideology, they're going to appoint somebody on that bench of that, a similar or like-minded political ideology. And that's what the Democrats didn't want. And she refused. And it was well within her rights to refuse. And unfortunately, she died, and Trump had to see it. So I think not just the justice wanted to retire early, but I think people like Musa Dean, other people who was around this president, kind of nudged the justice to ask for a retirement so that somebody more capable and more fit, quote unquote, could be on that bench for a longer period of time on any president. And if Weah comes back, he will have almost the full Supreme Court bench, in his pocket, so to speak.
Elvis, let me hold you there. Legendary Amos George, good evening, welcome. I'm happy to see you here on this program here tonight. I think the house is well proportionally balanced. I'm going to bring in Terry and City. Hi, Terry. He said he's a Weashan. So, I mean, he accept me as it is. But see the spin he put in on this whole thing here, making the case. Let me hear from you. Perfect argument or what? Disagreement? You disagree with his argument?
Well, greatly, because first of all, he's being biased in his analysis. The Weashans always have a fallback position, and he, you see, you don't even. Pato don't even want me to go ahead because you already now put a glitch in what I was going to say. But anyway, yeah, and he identifies himself as a Weashan, which again is another problem because we know that the Weashans are those who do not see anything wrong that President Weah does, and he alluding that probably Musa Dean is trying to convince the justice for him to do an early, stuff, which in my opinion is biased. It is biased because I want to believe he's not really revealing to us that this decision came from the president himself. All right, and a typical reaction would do just that. So, I think you rightly said it, Mr. So, that they don't want to allude to that President Weah should have done this much earlier because this man was sick for 8 months. This man just sent in a letter of retirement, I think December 1st or December 21st. All right, within a time interval, even if you're appointing Musa Dean, what is the benefit of President Weah administration? Because the time is very short. So, and he's also saying that, it's a good move. President Weah want to have something in it. First of all, it does not show, it shows corruption because you have a letter, you invoke an order that restricts you from appointment or nominating, and then you come by again and come again and nominate. So that shows corruption. You should have left that for the next government to make the decision. Since you said that you are not going to employ anybody or you're not going to nominate anybody until the transitional process goes through. So in my opinion, I think first of all, I think President Weah don't really want this thing. Because looking at it right now, right? The senators are complaining that the sitting fee they're supposed to receive, they have not received it. President Weah that know, if he really wants this thing to go through, he will have put in the money long time. He will have given the people their money long time. The people say they've been sitting. There's a second time, so I think President Weah owed them for 2 months now, sitting fee, and they have not gotten it. And that's supposed to be a sum of, I think, 1 million or 3 million plus. Whether if the government have it or not, it shows that if President Weah really wanted this thing to go through, he will have enforced it to go through by putting in the money that will require those senators to make it, to maybe push it through. But to my friend and brother Elvis, I think you guys need to tell President Weah the truth, and stop trying to, But anyway, Yeah, you say you are we are Shen, so there is nothing
Can
more I
you,
can say.
as the only supporter of the president on this platform, can you give me 10 seconds to respond to Terry, please, if you'd be so kind?
We're not going to do
Hold
that.
on. Hold on. We're going to make it fair and balanced. We have called on sedition, so we're going to do it proportionally. Just take note of whatever he said. Let me welcome legendary Amos George.
What is he legendary?
They're not your business. I choose to call him, you call him 1%, I call him legendary. So what's the deal? Do I question you when you call his name? Okay, Mr. George.
Yeah.
Good evening, welcome.
How you doing, Elvis?
How you doing, Mr. George?
Collins.
Yeah, Pajo.
This is Mr. Tool. How you doing?
Liberal.
Doing well.
Okay.
So, Joyce, let me just bring you in here, or you still finding yourself to be situated? You want me to
No, I'm waiting, but I don't know.
Okay, good. All right, we, been profiling this whole endless drama. They will have up to Tuesday. I'm wondering now, with this whole drama of this nomination hearings and all of that, now, is this going to put some sort of dent on the president? Because if it doesn't go on, if it ends in the sort of chaotic situation that we are seeing under the disguise of the Stafford, which I definitely want to be, this is highly politically motivated, and they're going to end like this. They're going to just create a political dent on the president nomination, regardless of the timing or whatever it is. They were not given the chance to do the sitting. Stafford came in, say, we want our pay, which of course they need to get their pay. But if it stays as it is, they have up to Tuesday to get this whole deal sealed up. I'm wondering what are conversations going on behind the camera that we do not know about. Tomorrow, Saturday, I know the way they're praying. I wish tomorrow could be like a Wednesday or Thursday to have extra 2 days, but that's not gonna. Nobody gonna revise the day. Tomorrow gonna be Saturday, Sunday. Nobody gonna go in section. Monday, we don't know what's gonna happen. Let me hear you.
Couple of things are happening around here. I always say in politics, gentleman honesty is very, very important. Agreement. You do this for me, I give you this, yes. And when time comes, if you don't live up to the side of your bargaining, then mistrust come in. He called these people back mainly to confirm the three people that he nominated. But here's the thing here. The senator now, I'm wondering, you got 11 or 12 going out. They're supposed to vote to have to confront these people. The question now is, it will vote these people. Will George will get all the money? No guarantee. The other side is, George will suppose if people don't vote, if I get people the money and they don't confront any people, can I get the money back?
Well, life is a risk, and nothing guaranteed in life.
So these are
you did it when you lost.
Yes. So these are some of the things I see them. Then
so we are smart.
Samora Wolokoli added gasoline to the fire. He go and release a memo that we have paid the people.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't say this. Letter, he put it out there that they paid $3.7 million now.
Yeah, I think that's why it provoked the situation.
So you see now, that's the smart thing you're trying to do to put these people against the wall that we have paid the people. Certain people have been paid already. Now the senators are coming, oh, no. Staffers will want our money. Senators are saying, no, we have not received 1 cent. So these are the things that now George will have to fight against. But the issue here, what is going on, Mr. Sewell, I've always said it is George Weah's constitutional right. The Constitution giving explicit confidence to appoint anybody, to nominate anybody. That's minister, deputy, that lies with his purview. But the question here is, Liberia is a country The people who perform, they don't elevate those people. Let these people, the CDC, let it name 3 cases, 4 cases that Musa Dean, as Minister of Justice, that has successfully prosecuted for the Liberian people, that the Republic have won those cases. This man being at the Ministry of Justice, he one of the most disgraceful ministers of all time in history. I would say so. There were cases, evidence was given to them.
You know, no apology for saying that?
No. How can I get an apology when $1 million drug boss were in the country? They took evidence and gave it to these people. They went to court and lost our case because the evidence they presented was sloppy. And they did it intentionally because money was involved. The court ruled the very day people left the country. Then he came out and holds a press conference that will go back to the court. I think going back there, Musa Dean. A $35 million case came out, drugs came again. Within a period of 3 months. What happened to it? We don't know.
Okay.
All right.
The 3 boys that got missing today, 3 men. Today, the Minister of Justice cannot account for those people to tell us what happened. And I'm talking about Princess Copper, one of those. She was found dead in a yard. 11 people left the country on a Musa Dean. So is a man now? That's a promotion for him. That means he has performed exceptional well for George Weah and the CDC. So now you're going to be going and go sit on the Supreme Court bench. How can people explain to people what was this man's achievement as the Minister of Justice?
Okay.
Before now, you take him to the Supreme Court. The only thing I say now, he's taking just Musa Dean to the Supreme Court, even though the Constitution gave him a right, and Musa Dean supposed to be independent, but knowing our system, the legion will be to George Weah. And there will be many cases, corruption cases and things will go up to the Supreme Court, and Musa Dean will be there.
Okay, let me go you there.
So I'm seeing this is not that's not America. I know, and many other citizens will know how the court system works in Liberia. You have, I think, 3% on that bench. And if those 3% vote against any ruling or in for any ruling, it stands. And so for me, therefore, I'm not even in, it's not in my interest or in the interest of the Liberian people for Musa Dean to be appointed to that post. If he would have performed, that people can look and say, oh yeah, this, I would have think about let's
okay. So all right, the house is in full, so we will try as much as possible to keep it succinct so that everybody will have the opportunity to spin around the place. You want to pray for us, Liberal? Why are you lifting your hand up like that? You want to pray? It's not your show tonight, so you're not going to have your way. That's for sure. You know that.
Okay, well, let me step in.
I didn't say you should come in. I saw your hand. You want to say something or you want to pray? Which one?
I'm getting ready to say something.
Okay.
First thing first, thank you, Pat Josh, Central Rai.
1%.
Every good evening. You know,
don't salute that man. He can sound ridiculous. I'm telling you. Don't
that man. Chief, I gotta pay due courtesy.
Okay.
The Liberal is on the floor.
Go ahead.
First thing first, Mr. George Harrison, thank you for recognizing my talent. He said, why you guys were not on Mr. Toll show yesterday? Because they abandoned me. They didn't think I have the ability to speak for 2 hours by myself. I have the ability, Mr. George. So yeah, that's who they are. That's who they are. When you need it, these are the loving, liberal, and the conservative. They will leave you up there. But that's okay. We'll deal with that.
No, so wait. You didn't call Terry. You didn't call his name. But you singled me up. That I the only point did not appear.
No, I said the man, the guy who wrote, he said his name is George Harrison. But of course, you didn't appear anyway. When I call your name over and over and over, you didn't appear. So don't come here. There's no. Don't take my time away. I'm on time.
So, Mr. So, get your time. Mr. So, get your time.
No. If you allow you, if you listen to a time, he's on your own.
Yeah. The sister allowed you last night. Sister appeared last night. The Terry appeared last night.
Let's leave that talk there. Let's make progress here. Let's hear you.
But anyhow, let me go on. Evans, thank you for joining us. But this is what I like about your sedition. When you're finished putting your foot in your mouth, when the liberal come out here and say you're sedition, you're putting your foot in your mouth, then you want to step aside your foot, and then you say, we are seeing. Where we are seeing? Where we are seeing? The same idea you're saying here, that the same idea this sedition being saying. Where we are seeing? First of all, do you have a long form birth certificate to talk about Liberia like that? Are you with us? Do you have a long form birth certificate? Because we are sharing now. The next thing we're going to know, I'm not too sure whether you're going to remain sedition, but one thing I'm going to say is, you guys, sometimes I can enjoy you. You guys are so educated, so sophisticated, that you can sidestep these things by saying, oh, 1 minute, no, I'm not a sedition, but I'm really, we are sharing. It's the same. The point you're making here for us is not going to fly. Let me speak the real, my own. I'm not speaking I don't want anybody to ask me for long form birth certificate. So let me speak the Liberian English so they will know from Camp Johnson rule. As simple as that. Let me just say this. This man, he want people to be nominated them, but he want them to get a job. President, if he really want people to get a job, that brown envelope people over there, they're getting ready to go. It will not take them long. You get a brown envelope over behind the corner, they will go. But then you come in here speaking, they're both trying to justify what you think will happen. Kennedy, the one you're talking about in the U.S. Supreme Court, was nominated by Ronald Reagan. He's a conservative. Fine. So the conservative backing, that's fine. That's fine. We get that. So you saying now that perhaps whether we are sharing sedition, whether they go to this man to say you're getting sick now, knowing fully well, if that is the case, then you're the one we are sharing and the sedition, you ain't got good heart for us. The man, Ambassador Baka, the man say I'm not sick. The man won the election. He has the opportunity now to fill the vacancy. Now you want to come and post saying in the man Gary that when you come and say that, why asking for your long form certificate? Because you're making it so much book so that your people can follow it. No, it's the same get back. You can put it in a fufu pen that the same get back. Now we are sharing on sedition that the same get back. You're leading it alone. Let the owner fill the spot.
Let's, in the interest of fairness, I think the slashes and bashes now is coming at Evers. Evers, I think 2 responses almost. You heard Terry. The liberals added fire into it.
You're trying to add from my lashes before I can speak, because I ain't even told you.
Oh, really?
Is that not spoken?
Okay, well, I told you here, we call people out here. No one is above the law here. Okay, so
you're trying to save Evers' feeling before they ain't talk before I can.
No. Ever knows it. Ever knows the rule. He knows that he knows that he coming into the den yet with the voice view, so he's prepared for that. I'm not worried about him.
No, mine is not gonna be long. I know Evers myself got to meet the Wall Street market, so I got to be careful.
Go ahead, Zizi.
But to be frank though, I really don't disagree with much of anything Elvis said. Elvis argued a few points. The first piece is the constitutionality of the appointments. And we can't disagree with that. There is still one president, one commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Liberia, and their name is George Weah. If a vacancy is created in government, it is George Weah's prerogative to appoint to fill that position. That is the Constitution. And Elvis is right. I don't disagree with him on that. I think we are arguing what the optics is. And for that, everybody have their own feelings on what the optics will look like, right? But there's one truth. The truth is, it is within George we are constitutional purview to a point. The place, however, that I differ a little bit with Elvis is that I would have hoped, and again, I'm not an insider of the CDC, so he has more information than I have. But just like what happened with Justice Kennedy, when I said this on the show the other night, when Justice Nangbe alerted the president that he was sick 8 months ago, I think the political strong people in CDC, I think they dropped the ball. I think they should have prevailed on the president to strong arm Justice Nangbe. Remember, it was the president who appointed Justice Nangbe. Mm-hmm. I think they should have strong arm Justice Nangbe, just like we tried to strong arm RGB here that he talked about, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Because had that vacancy become available before or during the campaign, the president could have used it to cut within that 20,000 margin that he lost the election by. That was me. As a political tactician, that's what I would have done. And I said that the other day. We would have gone to another county, pick somebody in a county that we know is a battleground to get that extra. Maybe go to Nima County, pick somebody in Nima County. Even if they're not going to accept it. Say, for example, you pick their own Gonglo. You know Gonglo will not accept it because he wanted to be president. But you can tell the Nima people, I pick one of your sons, and he say no. Right? So for me, I think the tactics is where I got a problem. I think the CDC, again, I'm not an insider, so I would take his view on it. But looking as an outsider, I think they should have strong arm Justice Nangbe more, because they would have played into their politics. And he's right. Every president everywhere in the world wants to have a favorable Supreme Court to them. This is not just a George Weah thing. This is even within the United States. This is everywhere. Every civilized nation, every president wants to have a Supreme Court that's favorable to him or to her. Because you don't know what cases will come after you leave office. You don't know. And it's politics. It's human nature. So I don't disagree with him on that. I just have a different view that maybe if they asked Nangbe, they should have strong arm him more and have the position available, because now they're playing within stoppage and injury time. Somebody can take their ball right now, put on their arm, like what happened with the Staffers beating Copa and other things there, and people go to Supreme Court because they're playing it for time to be gone till Tuesday. If they had done this with enough time, all of these things would have not mattered, right? It wouldn't have mattered. So for me, that's the only thing. But I actually, Elvis is not arguing anything that I disagree with. It is within the president's purview to make appointments. When the
okay, so Elvis, let me just add a little bit layer to it, and then you can respond to this whole thing. From what we've been saying, other folks been calling, and you have validated this argument. There seems to be, with whether be a political ploy that is ongoing, we do not know the authors and who are those people, but it seems to be some sort of rebellion from in the very CDC of these nominations by the president, especially when it comes to Musa Dean. Do me a favor. You as a Weashin, you are sedition / Weashin. Okay. Do you think Musa Dean, for whatever reasons, is not a supporter of the Weashins or the or the CDC, or is he? Why is he not likable within the CDC?
All right, thank you. Mr. Goya said something on the show a couple of days ago that I wanted to call him and kind of rebuff him a little bit, but I dropped off the line. He said that the CDC don't like Musa Dean because he didn't carry water for them. That statement. To the contrary, the reality is that most of us who are, if you want to call us Seditians or Weashins, which I prefer myself to be known more as a Weashin, so to speak, if there's anything of the sort. But I personally dislike Musa Dean because we know that the president can't go out there and be the justice minister. He's the president. He has his trusted lieutenants to go out and carry out, his policies agenda. And I think Musa Dean performed abysmally as the justice minister, having failed to bring most of these cases to a logical conclusion. I think that's Mr. Sisse and Mr. George have said. I think he made the president look bad, especially when it comes to the issue of rule of law. That's why I think most Tunisians don't like him. Most people think that because he didn't do this, he didn't do that, in favor of the government. But it's really because he didn't uphold the rule of law. He is the supervisor to Patrick Sudu. He supervised that position. So the reality is, if this police director is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, if he's not bringing cases, to the solicitor general to be prosecuted, Musa Dean is the overseer of that entire justice department, which the police director falls under, including the solicitor general and all other lawyers who work for the government. So for us, that's an awesome task that the president gave him, and we feel like he performed very, very shabbily, and he performed very poorly when it came to carrying out justice in the country. Like Mr. George alluded to the Princess Cooper death and other death that could have been easily solved. Now, the issue with the drug case, look, there's a saying in law: if the law isn't on your side, you argue the process. So if the law wasn't on, the side of Musa Dean, they couldn't argue the process. Maybe they had a tactical flaw in how they guarded the evidence, and that could be the case could be thrown out of court. So even in this America, the cases where continual work of drug is thrown out of the port of San Francisco, and people walk scot free because the way they gather the evidence, the way they survey those evidence, it can be on a tactical level. So I'm not here to tell you that drug cases are supposed to be slam dunks. They're quite complicated. Unless you're a lawyer or myself, we may not understand it in its entirety. But my point here is, we don't dislike Musa Dean because he didn't carry water for the CDC. We mostly dislike Musa Dean because we feel like the caliber of person that he is, the kind of lawyer that we taught him to be, he performed far below par of what we expected from him. So that's why we're disappointed with Musa Dean. And to answer your question, Mr. To, I think you already know this, But my father is a man from Grand Gina. My mother is a woman from Grand Bassa. I was born at the EWA hospital in Painesville. Grew up in combatant background in Liberia. Went to the Sotelmon school in Single on 19th Street. So I'm a full-fledged Liberian, though I came here at a very young age. So I'm a full-fledged Liberian. So you don't got to ask my long form birth certificate. I got to show one somewhere in my closet, but I got my long form down in the archive in Liberia there. But I think, Mr. Goya, you're right, and I think this whole issue with the staffers. Look, senators and representatives have the right to have staffers in their offices, and the government, allow a budget for those staffers to be paid. We know that there's been a common practice where these guys would take the money and eat it and give the staff, and withhold the staffers' pay for many months. So if it's in fact true that Samara Wolokoli is saying that the money was given out to them, and they're now trying to sidestep paying these employees, and this is only going to cause more delay in the confirmation of the new justice appointed or nominated, that's also a political tactic, perhaps based on those, representatives and senators who feel like they're against the CDC now and they don't want it to happen, so they're using some other tactic to get some level of stall tactics. It's fine. For me, I say this to President Weah: the people that you listen to is not the Jefferson Koji, it's not even now the Samuel Toy. It's the man Musa Dean, who was lobbying this president to put him on the Supreme Court because he's the smartest man that the president knows when it comes to the law. And he thinks that he can serve the CDC well in terms of the policy, focus that the CDC wants to accomplish. But I say no. As a supporter of this president, as a quote unquote somebody who aligns with the CDC, I say no. Musa Dean, he has not been qualified. Usually you want to put a judge there, somebody who has been, who has adjudicated many cases, who understand and have a depth knowledge of the judicial system in Liberia. Musa Dean is a private lawyer, corporate lawyer, a man who works for companies and argue, corporate law. He's not somebody who has served the nation in a position of a judge. You can appoint almost anybody on the Supreme Court justice per the Constitution, but preferably you want to appoint a judge who has a long history of ruling that has been fair and balanced, and maybe with a hint of political, ideology leaning your way. So for me, I think Musa Dean is the wrong person. I would give Sise a little low-hanging fruit. I think he should have appointed Councilor Gonglo. I think that would have been almost a universal, applauded appointment. I think Councilor Gonglo will accept that appointment after the elections, and you have somebody now from Nima after Chief Justice Kokor was, left off the bench. Nima is an important part of our country. Having somebody there of such impeccable, civil activist, lawyer, former lawyer, so to speak, people will feel like that's one of the on the Supreme Court who will be fighting for the people and the justice of the nation as a whole. A man who was beloved in I think almost every county in the country would have been a sensible choice and would have probably helped the president come 2029 if he wants to run for re-election in Nimba. Barring that Jeremiah Kuhn is not on the ticket, but he has to be smarter. I can criticize this president. I'm a regular panel on another platform. I criticize this president when it's warranted. So I'm not a sycophant, Mr. Terry. I can criticize this president when it's warranted. Thank you.
Okay, so who committed a political suicide in this whole thing, if we're to put it into context? Elvis.
Can I give a quick?
For me, I would say the United States government. Look, I think you guys don't talk about this enough. A lot of these platforms don't talk about it enough. Hold on. Let me get to the point. Don't shut me up.
No, I just want you to re-echo. I'm trying to maybe United States of Liberia or
no, the United States government. I've said this repeatedly on other platforms. I say this because look, the man Prince Johnson that you sanctioned, that you made a persona non grata, nobody should touch him. He's untouchable in terms of political, dealings. The United States didn't say a peep to him when Joseph Boakai was well aligned with him, and it became political bedfellows. Not a word. The man you call the Senate Pro Tem, which is a very powerful position, Abachir, you sanction him. The man you call Vonnie Sherman, whose sanction, was far preceded these other sanctions, but he's also sanctioned. The president hands are tied, Mr. Soul, by they're tied, and we understand that. So when you're asking this question, is glaring. The president hands are tied because these key positions by the United States government by sanctioning these individuals. We know our way of doing business in Liberia politically, like Mr. Terry said, there's Brian envelope, there's some form of coercion with these politicians, and most of these guys need to be influenced to do their job. So if the president hands are tied and they're watching him like a hawk, and the same people here that you tie is dealing with another important political leader in the country, and you're not saying anything, and this president is looking over his shoulders, yeah, it's unfair. You're putting your thumb on the scales on how things go in Liberia. It's unfair. You have to say that.
Hold on. Let me hold you there, Terry. Josh, I want to bring you in here. Terry, he said the president's hands are tied. Uncle Sam, really? Who gave rise to his hands being tied? But I know you wanted to respond to him on something here. Let me just bring you in. And to our callers, the number is out 682 to our viewers and follower 682-433-8802 to participate. We do not want and we do not intend to leave no voice or voices behind. However, when you call here, you also can be held accountable to what you say and what you talk. That's the beauty of LPR. The number is available via WhatsApp, just in case you are monitoring outside of the USA. Terry, let me just bring you in, and then we can split it to other things. What you're trying to
Yeah. I think Elvis, I hope I didn't forget my talk. But Elvis, if you say we are Shen and don't really know the reason why President Weah want Musa Dean to be on the bench, then you're not a Weah Shen. You don't know, you're not supposed to be carrying out nomenclature. Because there's a reason why President Weah will never look at a Tewan Gonglo and put him on the bench. And something my senior brother said that most presidents want to have a take in the court system, the judicial system before they leave. President Weah do have a take. He have 3 persons on the bench, seasoned lawyers, one of which he's nominated, which was Senayo, of very seasoned judge. All right, he have a lot of people that could protect his interests. Why is he bringing Musa Dean? That is what we should be talking about, because knowing very well that the Musa Dean have a lot of shady deeds that have been covered. He knows that if Musa Dean goes on that particular bench, since his hands are already dirty, in my opinion, all right, he can now enforce. President Weah can have more control over Musa Dean than any other person on the bench. And that is why most of the sedition and the Weah Shen, they don't understand. Because now Elvis is saying he's a Weah Shen, he don't want Musa Dean because he believes that Musa Dean did not do the job well. So then what will make President Weah to appoint Musa Din, knowing very well that Musa Din did not do the job well? So that brings to mind that I question your love or your support for President Weah. Are you trying to tell me that his judgment was poor?
Yes, I'm telling you that.
In bringing Musa Din. But what I'm trying to also tell you is that the reason he did that is because he's trying to protect certain things that you feel or believe that he do not know about or he was never involved in.
What do you think he's trying to protect, Terry?
Well, in my opinion, there are a lot of things, Mr. So. A lot of things went on in the country. Like, for example, the drug deal that went on. That we don't know what happened. These people walk out with 100. You know, we don't know. The justice minister is the only person that can tell us what really happened. The auditors, the death of all those auditors. All right, what really happened? There's a possibility that if JMB takes over, these things can be brought up. We can go back to them and find what really transpired. Because to be honest with you, in my opinion, why will President Weah wanting to nominate Musa Din for this particular position, knowing very well that Musa Din have not been performing? The thing that can come to my mind is these things that I just outlined. So if Evans want to be, you know, that is the reason why I look at I look at most of the Weah-shians and the seditions who don't really know President Weah, or who don't, because you see, President Weah is a good man. I must say this, he's a nice man. In my opinion, he could be trying to protect certain people that are part of the thing. I'm not saying he's part of it, but I want to strongly believe that he have knowledge and he could be trying to protect.
Is he a bad guy?
President Weah? Mm-hmm. No, I don't think President Weah is bad.
Does he have a bad behavior? Does he have a bad behavior?
I think he makes a lot of poor judgment. I think his judgment is, especially when it comes to governance, when it comes to politics, his analysis and his judgment on politics can be very poor. And I think he's doing this thing to protect certain people in his government because he feels responsible for them. All right. Okay. I don't think he did anything wrong, but I think he knows what really happened. He understands it, but he's trying to protect certain people that was in the government that were involved in these things, that he knows that if maybe it blow out of proportion, one way or the other, he will be in trouble. That could just be what it is.
Can I ask a question to the entire panelists? I don't want to speak. I just want to ask a question.
Oh, you want to ask the question? What the?
I want to know, besides Taiwan Gonglo, right? Who else in the Republic of Liberia you think would have been qualified for the president to appoint to be, justice on the Supreme Court? Because you're saying Musa Din, the president wants him to protect him. If the justice didn't ask to retire early, you wouldn't have appointed Musa Din. So that's my question to everybody, because the need arises.
What is the benefit of we calling these people names when you don't even know some of them?
No, I want to know. How do you know I don't know some of them? I want to know.
Okay, I can give you one. Councilor Lassana.
Lassana who?
Kamara Lassana Kamara. He's a work with Councilor the late David Jala. He was running that law firm, and David Jala at the time was president. President of the Grand School of Law. Another one who gave you one Councilor Frederick Jawe. He used to run the Simpson law firm.
Frederick Jawe.
Frederick Jawe. We have him on the other platform that I appear on regularly. Not Frederick Jawe or Jawe.
No, not him. This Frederick Jawe was running Councilor Simpson law firm in Monrovia. That's not him.
I hope Evans is not trying to murder this conversation.
No. So you talking about name?
If Anthony appointing people, why would we want to be calling people here? Lebron.
So what's it?
Who is putting their down this evening?
Of course. He's a sedition. He tried. He's trying to take us down the rabbit hole here. And if you're not smart, that's what sedition does. That's what they're good at. He's taking us down the rabbit hole. Oh, if you appoint this one, and then we start debating. past CDC reaction, your leader team. You tell your president, we are, the impact is Satoka, and just leave. Let the old man come and point somebody that we, Kolo, we can see. That's all I can say, Mr. Whatever your name is.
I think to Elvis' point, there are a lot of places the president could have looked. I'm just thinking, for example, the National Association of Trial Judges of Liberia. You talk about a sitting judge, right? A sitting judge to be elevated. There is the national,
or even Volunteer Kofa.
My man, you probably that we're talking serious. You can bring on the thing.
No.
Serious.
Volunteer
Kofa is one of the best lawyers in Liberia.
Right? If you are going through the National Association of Trial Judges, for example, if I'm looking at them right now,
the National Bar Association,
right? Them, but you have, for example, the Commercial Court Judge, the Chief Judge, Eva Mappe Morgan, that's been honorable member of the Supreme Court Bar in 1992, right? Those are places you would have gone to get people. Just for me, at least, or maybe put it out to the Bar Association to give you recommendations on many places, and then you pick from there. Again, the thing here is no one person is expected to know everything. And this is why I always go back to people who were supposed to counsel the president that failed the president. There is no one president who understands commerce and the economy and education and law and everything and bring everything. That's why you appoint people to guide you. And that's why I think for somebody like a Frank Musa Dean that has been practicing law for a long time, instead of trying to elevate himself, if he did, you should have at least asked the president to look to some of these organizations, some of these professional places for recommendation. That would be my answer to your question.
Excellent. I take that answer wholeheartedly. Thank you, Mr. Goya.
But listen, Musa Dean was the one who lobbied the president for the president to nominate him, so he couldn't have gone outside.
How do you know, Amos George? How do you know?
Don't worry, we got sources. Musa Dean was the one who lobbied the president for him to be nominated. So he couldn't have gone out there because normally they will ask the bar, the national bar, to recommend somebody, some judges or something like that. But this was not done. They didn't ask the president did not ask the bar.
Quickly, Terry, do you have an answer for Elvis?
Because my microphone, my earpiece just had a.
I think. Can you say besides what are the president who have gone outside to nominate? Is there anybody that you think that the president could have done it differently? Perhaps maybe I'm not sure whether we want to be having this sort of conversation.
Yes, certainly so, Mr. So there are a lot of people in the country that are well schooled and educated, understands the issues. Even some of those lawyers at the Temple of Justice, they can be recommended. They could be nominated. There are brilliant Liberians, both in the diaspora and even in Liberia, who understand the issues of law. But why would he want to do that? Why would he want to do that? Because obviously he want to protect that. Even Verdio, why he couldn't say, okay, you know what, Verdio?
He lost his credibility.
Verdio.
Look, I wanted to ask him now, Elvis said. Elvis,
bad person or the citizen just don't like him, So, but I think that one of the reasons why Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf succeeded was because she went across the aisle for even people that she knew were opposing her, but they were smart, they were educated, and they were informed. And that is what I'm hoping for Ambassador Booker to do. Otherwise, his government will fail. And we must also understand that Ambassador,
Mr. Tom, I just want to respond to something Elvis said about the Americans. Elvis, why you people blaming the Americans when you people cause your own problem? Prince Johnson was sanctioned by the United States government. He was made chief of security chairman. We may know the American booted him out. They didn't say anything about that. But Joseph Boakai picked Jeremiah Kuhn. Now you're saying the Americans are quiet, silence. Banishment joined the all sanction before the election. Natanya Mange, you talk about doing business. Then the same American government ruled that nobody should do business with all the people that were sanctioned, including Natanya Mange. And your person was hanging away in my give. What did you say?
Right. That thing just skipped my mind.
Did you ask the American to question George why he was hanging with Natanya Mange?
Okay, guys, with a few minutes here, let's do a quick talking point. Let's find solution now. Now, all of us who think the Kiev now, the one who going to bear this cross, the political cross of Calvary or cross of whatever is in the next coming days and week is Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka. Y'all gotta get our pay. Y'all get one more pay. City corporation pay. This ministry pay. This other agency pay. I'm wondering the processing of the incoming administrations, if things remains as it is, which most likely going to be the case, even if they will not reach 100%. Now, this is what the incoming administration now, will we then come back here tomorrow and say blame the CDC government because we know for whatever reason for sure they're going to be encountering this problem here. The problem now is how will the Unity Party or coalitions where government were supported by different parties in finding to resolution to these the reactions, the seditions are leaving behind. I'm not sure if I'm fair to say that, Elvis, you can speak to that as well. So say, with all of this whole thing here, what do you think the ambassador is it? I didn't know this thing was going to be like this. What am I going to walk into? How much is in the coffer? Perhaps to get an idea now. You don't know. I don't know. But the problems, every other day, it becomes compound and complex. Solution finding now is a thing because they like quick fix. You tell them to wait 1 month, 2 months, you say, no, that's not why you do all. They want to see the ball rolling. And this is not going to be an automatic. How with this incoming administration? What is the processing you think now with all of these things that parting over every other day? Would it be consolatory to give this administration enough time, people who are not getting paid for this number of time? Would it be consolatory kind to this administration?
Well, messaging is key. You know, if you come to me with empathy and being truthful and being open, it lands differently than when you are flippant and dismissive and come with this. Remember this iconic picture that those guys took? That was very dismissive. I think if you come with that, you create a problem. But I think there was an underlying question you asked. If Joseph Newman Boakai is surprised by anything that he's going to inherit, then that tells us he's not ready. Because he was vice president and they handed over a government to CDC. They did not pay all their arrears to civil servants when they handed over to CDC. So he understands what that is. And so he's going to be getting, maybe it's more arrears than they gave to George Weah, but they did give over arrears and they did give over debt to the Weah presidency. And so they're going to be acquiring debts and acquiring arrears. Now, it might not be on the same scale, but he ought to be prepared for that because he served in the government at a senior level and understands that. They have to start working on messaging because they're not going to have enough money to pay everybody arrears off straight up. And with the budget right now that is being forecast at around 600 million, that is about 95% just focused on salaries and nothing on investment. It's going to be difficult. But this is where true leadership is going to have to stand up. This is where you talk to people. How do you rally your people to go along with you while they're hungry? How do you get somebody to be hungry and still believe that, okay, I will sleep today on water because I know tomorrow I will get food? That's where leadership comes into play. You know, I was joking today on my Facebook post and I posted. I said, when you start to receive AARP letter in the mail, my brother, start telling the Jew to manage your expectation. Because AARP telling you now, my man, setting star now, you can't play it no more. So that the time now, you start talking to the Jew and getting the letter. Let's not put it along the way. But I'm just telling you, and this is where the incoming government
So if I receive one, I can sue them for that?
How you
You got, what you got to be 55 to receive ARP, right? Or 50 or something like that?
So when the ARP starts sending you a trash mail, that's when you start having the conversation. They just like my Boaka government started receiving the ARP notice. They need to not tell the Jew not to manage your expectation. That thing, you gotta have a way to have that conversation. You can't come one day, you throw it on the table and say, my God, all I can do it no more. No, you gotta be a graduate release, you have to have conversation. So I just never would I have to say right there.
This guy, Sissy, you're something. Why were you bring AARP? Who here received AARP letter?
I want to respond about George.
Yeah, no, hold on. No, hold on. What was the question here? Yeah. Those people, these people, you continue to respond to them.
Mr. So something told you are not receive ARP letter? Yeah, but Mr. John made that letter made. You are not received some before?
That man got a letter a long time. Okay, so let's spin the same questions around here. Terry, you want to go?
Yeah, or obviously there are a lot of things, Mr. So, for their the Ambassador Boyka is a man who understands the modus operandi of the country. But one of my problems that I
modus operandi of the country.
Why you're bringing to us now?
Yeah. Oh, Jefferson got your level with it.
Mr. So, yeah, sorry for using all the kind of things, but
LPR.
But what I want to say is that Boyka, that one of his challenges, the second test for Ambassador Boyka will be the budget. How will he expend? How he's going to expend the budget? Because the budget he's going to come in with, and CDC President Weah is very smart. What they're doing there is that they're setting him up to see how he will run the first year. Because if he made mistake with these people's salaries and other things, then to pay on time and all of that, CDC now will use that against him, because they will say, you know what, we're not in power anymore. So even though we didn't pay the people for 4 months, we pay them Christmas money, the people will not blame or anymore that you don't want the trouble on now because you say you wanted a job, give it to you. So Ambassador Boyka will have to be straight up front. You have to create the avenue wherein for the first 6 months will be months of sacrifice. You know, like what my senior brother said, manage your expectation. And without people going back,
fast and prayer, people will not take pay.
No, people will take pay, but you can't be flashy. You can't be buying new cars, $50,000 car.
You mean the government will minimize.
Minimize. Having a long convoy with brand new vehicles, and all the kind of thing, and upgrading every now and then, carrying 100 and some more people on a flight to another country, say you go in lobby for this, that, and the other. Your budget have to be cut down. I want to see I want to see President-elect or incoming President Boyka budget. I want to see the presidential budget. Then I will begin to make my analysis from there. What would be President Boyka budget for the first 100 days?
Since you're talking about that, for discussion purposes, if they come up with whatever budgets and begin to retrospect or reflect on the outgoing administration's budget, presidential budget, or whatever it is, would you buy into that?
I'm going to have a problem with that. Certainly, Mr. So, because your budget should not be around the same budget that President Weah has, where, his wife have a certain budget, blah, blah, blah. I want to see the presidential budget. Then I will begin to draw my analysis as to where we are going. I want to see Jeremiah Kuhn's budget in the Senate. I want to see, the Senate pro tem budget. I want to see the Speaker budget. You understand? Okay. Then I will begin to draw because power has a way of turning on those that receive it. Way of exposing you, because if Senator Dillon and Yomli Kanga then told us that the senator the Senate pro tem were making too much money, then it means that if she is going to be Senate pro tem, her budget should not be $1 million.
Okay, let's hold it there. Evans, hold your peace. I want to give you most political will because these guys, I know what they are doing, and I'm trying to get them into something they're going to fall. Somebody going to fall into the year. The liberal progressive. Terry is already distancing himself. He's talking about the pro tem, which your sister Nyombi Kanga is I. You talking about a speaker, which your patron fanatic Kofa. You're telling us now, if you were advised giving counsel to President George, we are to have brought in fanatic Kofa. This is who you are, and Smith got it right. You are a complete, perfect undercover sedition here, and you try to link people, and you tell people already today, but all your friends, you don't like George Weah, but all of the folks around George Weah, they are your patron. So let me ask you, but now you say publicly you support Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka. Will you firm on? We not know yet, we don't know what's going to happen, but if he comes up with his budget tomorrow, and we compare that to the CDC George Weah, would there be anything excusable to say, oh no, you had it last time, you're not sorry? Will you come back to come tell me that I'm a business or I'm a business or I say 1 year?
You know me. I'm not here for kumbaya. I'm not here for friendship. I'll tell you, Mr. George, that none of your business. Simple as that. But let me just say this. Before I leave. Mr. So, you asked a very good point and says they responded well as far as I'm concerned, but I'll go a little bit deeper than that. The appointment of people, Liberians, to help facilitate whatever developmental agenda President-elect Barker might have is very important. But most importantly, those people that are going to come in, they have to protect culturally. That's what I mean. I don't mean in terms of doing wrong. But if Ambassador Barker appoints you, you have to do everything possible to make sure that his reputation stays intact. You cannot come to this position and try to enrich yourself. Unacceptable. If Ambassador Barker put his finger up and say, can you come to help me? If you know you are not capable of doing such job, excuse yourself. It's better to now be embarrassed at this other age, at the other stage, than it is to be embarrassed later on. Those who will be asked to lead a ministry, to lead a department, whatever it is, do your best to make sure you do it for the Liberian people. By doing everything possible, that whatever they give you, nobody is perfect. Because if you come in and try to enrich yourself, it's not only going to reflect badly on President Buckeye, but it's also going to look bad for all of us as Liberians. Many of us that were out here singing and dancing and what have you, all these foolishness we were doing, that now the rubber's going to meet the road. Serious business is going to start. And Ambassador Barker, as far as I'm concerned, he's in a perfect position. I say it's a corrected statement. They were there for 12 years. He has seen the mountain from the mountaintop. He has seen the struggle of Liberians when he was in opposition. So that's why the other day I was surprised that they were having issue with the transitional team. You would think that would have been done some 6-7 months ago, where they will come in ready to run. But they have not done that. And I'm saying that these people cannot come to this thing here and say, okay, well, we're just going to go and run it through. No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So, Mr. So, they're kicking me out of my studio right now, and I want to thank you very much because they're kicking me out. So
say the good ready.
You're going to finish the good. Good night.
Evans, nice meeting you finally. We hope that you will continue to join us from time. Say good night, Mr. George, Terry, good night, Evans, good night, Mr. So, good night to you as well.
Thank you so much. Let me bring in Pa George and then Evis before we do our last round. Pa George,
yeah.
You bring yourself again? So yeah, let's look at here. We have talked a lot. In the next coming days or week, I will not be talking about George Weah, President George Weah. He who's in charge takes responsibility, and he will also be held accountable for his appointments. And I think Sissy said I'm waiting to see who really going to be his information minister. There are key thing here: information, defense, finance, and the commerce, presidential affairs, and all of that. I'm not saying other ministries are not important, but especially the information. So you're going to serve as a gap with the outside world, the Liberian people, and the agendas of the. Not somebody who get ready, who talk before they think. Not those or Tabata one day and think shouting. No, that role is a very, very crucial and.
But who are you talking about in Pacific?
Who do you think I'm talking about?
The person who can talk it.
Who do you think you're talking about?
I know that you don't want.
Well, I don't think you want to make a mistake and get people like Eugene Fagon to be. I mean, I can say it to be a deputy minister for public affairs because I never saw people. Yeah, because this is where the problems comes from. Yeah, CDC's misplaced Eugene Fagon. He should have gone to party headquarters. I think that was the best place that he belongs. He should have gone to party and then to work on the propaganda of the elections, the party re-election. That is different. But let me break in Pa George here. Pa George,
yeah.
What will we be looking forward now in the next coming days? All of these convoluted mix-up boxer, say people take pay, people not take pay, all of that. Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka government want to be the one to inherit all of this thing. And there will be no room of excuse to say, oh, you got to wait and this one not do this, that one not do that. They got to find a rightful tone, like what Cecil was saying, even though if it is not there, because people know just how you want to create that sort of chain of information to be honest with people and admit that this is a tough time. You got to give me a break. You got to give me a time. But when you can't, the last time you were not taking pay 3-4 more now that I didn't want you. No. Then you come and make a seat to get half for you. Let's see you quickly, then I'll go to Elvis.
You know, our people say you lean only hot day, bro. That you don't want to smell for death.
What you say?
The person you lean only hot day break on you don't want to respond for death.
Yeah, no trouble, old man.
See what they when it talks to me, yeah.
Every year, what a message.
That's what a parable is.
So now you are the last person. You are the last person in contact with the old lady, right?
You in the morning, you the screen now only to the door in the morning that you don't want to respond for death.
Oh my goodness.
Why you go to that one day in the first place?
Oh, that is it. So the purpose is they say you will in a horse, they bring you, they will catch you for that old death. So here's the thing here. This is it. Messaging. Would the government be open to the people and say, look, yes, we understand. We solve this problem. But this is where we are, and this is where we want to take you people. Be open with the people. And that's one thing about Liberian people. If you open with them, they're quick to follow you. But when you want to start shipping blame,
right,
that's where the trouble comes from. And the same what happens, so you just need to reinforce the message. Look, it is tough time. This is where we are. We intend to solve it, but we're asking people to give us a breathing room. And we're going to try to move this direction.
And Vasco said they didn't want no excuse or they want to rescue everybody.
No, secondly, the people that he will bring around him, people that will be around this man, because sometimes I had to with Joshua. The kind of caliber of people he will bring around him to help him to move this country forward, that also can help a whole lot. So these are the things that the Honorable is facing, and Sister said already. There's nothing he know. He served as cabinet minister, he served as director, cabinet minister, vice president for 12 years. And he had lived in Congo all throughout those years. So he know the country, he know the problem. As he himself always said, I know the problem. And I'm going to find a solution to it.
Okay.
So that's just the way it is. Be honest with the people. Tell the people really what is happening. Because I know what about that. Wait a minute. The Mambodu Seku had Chekoseko where. What I can attract in Morovia?
My man Lima uncle. They say okay now, leave it.
Okay, let me bring it Evis. Evis, you heard these guys. Everybody protecting, defending their own alligators is common here, but we're here to cut through the corridor. What are you hoping? What are you watching for? You as a reaction? What are you watching? To say, show you guys, we told you this. I am not surprised.
Okay, thank you. I want to be fair to Terry and agree with him. I think fiscal austerity, when Boyka comes into power, is a must. He has to implement that. Another thing I want to be is to be fair to both President Weah and incoming President-elect Boyka. I think Liberia real governance is happening since the on-mail left Liberia. Because most people are thinking back to those Ellen Johnson Sirleaf years when we had an inflated economy, where you have on-mail bringing in somewhere about $500+ million, infusing that into our economy, and other NGOs coming into the country right after war, and people are expecting things to be of that, similar to that period where people, money would be flowing, a lot of NGO will come in the country, a lot more investment will come in. Look, what we have after on-mail left is the true Liberia, and this is what George Weah have had to deal with, and this is what Boyka will have to deal with. And I think he has to understand. Look, I made the case for an economic council on another platform that you have to bring at least 2 or 3 people who are well adept with economic issues to actually try to formulate a strong plan of attack on our economic, our economic situation in the country. Instead of just having one person who thinks he knows it all and is the best finance minister, as somebody like Samuel Toy is trying to portray himself as, Boyka needs to kind of do away with that, come in with a new strategy, appoint an economic council with some of the brightest and most brilliant minds we have in Liberia when it comes to economic issues, and try to tackle this thing maybe like a 3-pronged approach, because that's what the bottom line is. It's all about the economy. If the people are seeing, a better economic prospects, they think about you favorably politically. It's just that simple. So I think Boyka coming to power is not going to be like the time you were there when Ellen was there. It's going to be completely different. Things are going to be incredibly hard. No more donor money flocking into the country willy-nilly. You're going to have to raise revenue through ingenuity to improve that budget. You have to put people in place who are well adept within their in the place of speciality. And Boyka, a man of his, experience in government, you will assume he has the ability to do those things. But I think where he will fall short is the promises that he made to the Liberian people, especially when it comes to the agricultural sector. Would he say they don't want to do mechanized farming? I don't know. I don't know if people can skip mechanized, not mechanized farming, but he wants to bring in, caterpillars and other things to go into rural Liberia where we barely have any rules, to kind of, boost up our agricultural sector again. I think another thing he needs to engage in is our aquaculture, which is, the fishery and other things. I think President Weah and Emma Glasgow did a pretty good job on that. Even though supposed to say, we saw our water to China and other things, but that was one of the ministries that performed well. It needs to come up with ingenuity and ingenious ways to make money for the country of Liberia. When George Weah took over government, not to place blame on anybody, we were effectively broke. Let's not forget that. If you have $1,000 and you have bills that accumulate up to $2,000, you're $1,000 in the hole. That's what George Weah had when he said he came into a broke government. They have outstanding debts or debts liability that surpassed the actual liquid cash that they had on, in hand to pay those debts. My biggest hope and my biggest apprehension is that I hope that when Joseph Boyka comes into office, he will have more money than they gave George Weah when George Weah took over, both in the consolidated account and in our reserve account. I think for me, that would be one of the success I want to attribute to our president, President Weah. That's yet to be seen.
Pay the people.
Okay, all right.
The man said, Protocol said that they pay the people, Mr. George, unless you're saying it's not true.
Man,
you say give them $3 million to pay the staffers and the representatives.
Ask Protocol to go provide the list of domestic debts. The man has not even gone back to get that. The man saying that's different people talking different things.
Okay, let's go to the phone line before we go. Male Jones, are you there? Let's hear you quickly.
Yeah, thank you, panelists, and thank you, CEO. I just wanted to make one point of correction to our brother Kessler. When Georgia took over, if the Georgia government was sincere enough to use the little resources to let their judiciously, sincerely, committedly, and patriotically,
consultant.
Managing this country. But they were between looting and giving the crumbs to developing the country. That was the problem. And so they were caught in the web. That's the first thing. And secondly, Joseph Boyka has said for time immemorial that he's bringing in people with credibility, people who we can depend on. He's bringing in people who are knowledgeable. He's bringing in people with high caliber of interest. But what His Excellency has failed to tell the Liberian people is that if these people are caught in malpractices, if they are caught in eating money, stealing our money, they're underperforming, His Excellency has failed to tell the Liberian people what he's going to do. He continues to say, I will lead by example. Leading by example, I getting in as an educational minister and stealing the people money. What is he going to do to me? He has not been able to tell the Liberian people that. I yield.
Okay, guys, what a great night. Yeah, it's the take-home question. I'm considering having Lpr-Tv special tomorrow, Saturday here. So I've been hearing in the quarter, we can just brush over it, okay, maybe 1 minute take, and then we're going to find the time to have a conversation here. Which one? Well, after this administration, the government of Liberia, the incoming government, the Liberian people, the lawmaker, they could possibly have a select committee or special commission, maybe the police chief, the minister of justice, and other people with high profile. The possibility of calling these people to know exactly what went wrong and how far things went in the past. What do they know? Evan, let me just come to you. You as a reaction, not singling you out, but I like your talking point in that you strictly to both face to the point. If, for example, this guy you don't like, I don't want to label it that way, but this guy who is not your favorite, Frank Musadin, the chief minister of justice, one of the lead law enforcers in the country. If the lawmakers were to call him tomorrow to get more clarifications on some of these cases and some of the things that went on under his watch as the minister of justice, and Patrick Suru as police commissioner, would that be considered to seditions and reactions as witch hunt?
I mean, you have to quantify Mr. Suru, because that's the legislative function, is to call these people to check and to balance, right? So they've done that in previous times, where they call the Minister of Finance and other ministers to ask them questions, to inquire about certain things that was going on with their ministry in respect to how they were spending monies, or in respect to what services were not being, delivered. So if you're asking specific questions that have to do with the function of the Ministry of Justice, that's well in place. If you're asking questions about cases that were adjudicated before, a court of competent jurisdiction, as we call it in Liberia, and those cases did not go the government way, in most time, those prosecutors who was on that case on the government side, maybe they don't get that next level up. They don't get to become a judge. They don't get to become a district attorney or whatever, because they didn't perform admirably. But you don't now question the justice minister because most of these cases he was not the one representing the government. He had his lieutenants, those prosecutors, who, like I said, maybe did something wrong along the way in terms of maybe acquiring those evidence, and maybe the case was lost on a technicality. But if you're going to question him about all the cases that the government lost or the government didn't come to the desired conclusion that we wanted, I don't think it's in place. If it's something that happened in the court of law, you have to go through the docket, go through the court case, and review it on a judicial committee, and then see if there was any malpractice, and then hold those people or hold the justice minister for not performing his duty. I don't think you can just bring him there and say, "Why haven't you solved the other case? Why you solved the other case?" I'm sure you'll have explanations to give you. The police director should also be there as well, and the prosecutors and investigators to work on those cases.
Thank you so much, Terry.
Yeah, so it is not a witch hunt, Mr. So if you are brought before the law to give answers concerning your stewardship, but it becomes a witch hunt when you are pinpointing certain people in government to target them. All right? Like what President we did with Kabina Jane. That was a witch hunt. But looking at certain major areas and trying to investigate, that is not a witch hunt. A witch hunt is going after a person, targeting the person, and making sure that you nip the person down, even when you are wrong, even when the law does not provide you the opportunity to do that. That is what was done to Kabina Jane. But it will not be a witch hunt if you know that what you have been accused of is there, and what you are being investigated of or prosecuted for is going in accordance with the law. But when it becomes a witch hunt, when you target a man and bend the law just to get at that person, then it becomes a witch hunt. But it's not a witch hunt if the person is being persecuted in accordance with the law.
There you go. The interpretation. All right. Let's go to Atlanta, Georgia. They wanted to steal the votes in this country as a result. September 6 came into being, which of course Joe Biden is expected to deliver a major political speech in Pennsylvania. So Amos George, let me just bring you in here. Tomorrow, when President elect is seated, new assembly members going to be coming in. They're going to be reviewing the document. They're going to look back, backtrack, and look at some other things to say, well, those things were explained, but we need a little more further clarification. We need a commissions. We need a special select committee and begin to call some of the former government officials to get more answers, more clarities on their functions, like Terry says, stewardship. Now, depending who it lands on, they will see that as a wish on. But let's put it into a broader context. Is that a wish on?
No. And Terry, let me say something to you. The Minister of Justice, if a government is taking the district, the county attorney, the Solicitor General, they all fall under the Minister of Justice. Before they take any case, the Minister of Justice has to approve of that case. So he reviewed the case, or cases. He said, okay, yeah. It's okay. And he will always be consulted as a go to court. So no case that the government will take, that the county attorney will take, or the Solicitor General will take with all the knowledge of the Minister of Justice. No. So that's how it works. And if they call, let me go back to the $1 million case. The Minister of Justice was aware of that case. He sent lawyer to court, and he came out to have a press conference. And the court challenged him. I don't know if you ever listened to the spokesperson of the court, Ambrose Mann, challenged the Minister of Justice that they were in court, but they were not able to present the case to convince the judge. The juror even asked.
I listened to it.
So if the Minister of Justice is called, he's not being called as the witness to give the people how the government lost that case. What was the precedent? What was the evidence? How to get on it? It's nothing wrong with that. The police director, they're going to the crime scene. They get a preliminary investigation. They present it to the Solicitor General. They go, Solicitor General say, okay, this one, okay, these are the charges we'll prepare for this case here. The police now, you come to testify, this is what we'll do, yes. That's it. And if they went to court and they lost the case, they will have to tell the Liberian people, this is what we did, this is what, based on the law, the judge ruled this way. That's not wrong with it. So these are the things sometimes they'll be asking. That's why I said the minister, Musa Din should not be the minister, should not go as at the Supreme Court now, because I want Musa Din to be the witness in that committee to testify so the people can ask him. How did the right at the cases, how they made a charge that they went to court, they could not prove it.
Okay.
So these are some of the things we are seeing. Let me give you another example.
Yeah, quickly.
The bee marching in Bapolo. Musa Din's signature is there. The Iboma D, Musa Din was a legal counsel. He told the party that all these things were correct. The T and that were crossed. Only the company was a 40 D. So the question that if they're asking, how did they arrive that these documents, these things were properly vetted? That's not witch hunt.
Thank you so much. Amos Jones, Marley Jones, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, quickly, let's hear you. What will you consider as a witch hunt and not a witch hunt? Which way do you fall?
Well, I think the problem on the ground here is that if His Excellency actually want to work for the people of Liberia, rather than working for himself or the Unity Party, I think it would be prudent if he improved his own stewardship 12 years ago into this audit. But if he failed to do that, then I think he will be working for himself and the Unity Party. And as such, it might be classified as a witch hunt by other people. But I would classify it as being unpatriotic and being biased.
Did he tell we had not ordered the passport?
Okay. The man made his own stuff here.
No, I just had the opportunity.
So, Sister Goyot, we both left in the ring. You heard everybody's size. The man, the Mojab progressive said, Ambassador Boyka should go into his own portfolio as well. How can this be avoided or being seen by people? Because obviously, no matter what, people will have their own self-interpretation to it. But the law is the law. People can call people, even the case is not closed, and they will say, hey, we need more, we discover new evidence. You know, something new pop up. They can call you. Investigators will see it happening here and there. Well, we see that happening, having some committees especially from both houses, calling on other former government officials to provide clarity or to talk to them some more on some of the things that happened. The field didn't get enough answers.
I'm going to wish one thing. I'm looking for witches. Wish look, man.
That laying get power to catch witch.
I will get my business like I want to give me that cow.
So you serious in one Zanzakawa on
the only job me I won't be the traditional council man.
Could be eating go soup, eh?
They can steal the man car battery, they can do nothing. A website can lose elections. But look, on a serious note, if the legislature forms a committee that will call Musa Din and other past leaders to the Senate or to the House to testify, what will be the focus? Are they doing a legislative oversight in hindsight of the past government? Do they have subpoena power if somebody decides I don't want to testify? What does that look like? Because that becomes a shaky ground. If you are going to call Musa Din to say, can't talk to her about all the cases that you left open. If I were Musa Din, I would stay around Broad Street and call all of y'all.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I would stay around top of my car and call y'all. Because the first problem is government is continuity. If there are cases that were open and never concluded, the new government should conclude those cases.
Yeah.
And if those cases were never started, you go back and look at the evidence that was collected by the police and law enforcement and see if you can file charges where charges were not filed. Why call me to come tell you why I didn't file certain charges? Now, if this is a judicial review by the judiciary because they're looking at his law license and there's something that has to do with law license, a different thing. But I left office. I lost some cases. Maybe I didn't even win any case. You are calling me to come and tell you why I lost the cases. If this is for review to ensure that, and this is where one of the problems I got with Musa Din, right? And my brother Elvis spoke to a point. You pick prosecutors as the Minister of Justice, and they say they lose a case that everybody expected to be a slam dunk. The media, the public, everybody's mad at you. You don't even go to do an after action report. You don't even go in to check and see where things went wrong, to do an in-house reflection and say, here is where we dropped the ball, because that's what credible organizations will do. He didn't do that, right? And people can speak about how smart he is, but he didn't do what he was expected to do minimally. But again, I will protect his right, because when he's no longer in office, he's leaving documents behind. That's the reason you have a transitional team. They're leaving everything up to you. If you felt like there were charges that needed to be filed, and he didn't file, then file those charges. If he didn't go to court or senators were sitting on the docket, clear the docket, appoint more judges so that people can have a speedy trial. But if you call me as Musa Din or come talk to me about cases that I lost or cases that I didn't file, and you talk about auditors were killed and we didn't file charges, they kind of cost you will cause you before you.
Well, maybe suppose we see that your interest was involved.
Well, but here's the thing. If you think my interest was involved, then you charge me.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
You charge me, but you don't call me. Again, here's the thing. You don't call me to come tell you why I lost a case.
Well, are we saying that Musa Din's interest was in that drug case? Is that what we're in?
I don't know.
I'm not even trying to infer that. Here's what he's saying, but for me, I don't care. If you think his interest was there, you provided evidence, you charged the man. In Liberia, student and fail wire test plenty of time. Never a day did we bring any former minister to come say, why the student fail wire, you got interest involved, we send you to jail. If you have a point, you have a case, you have evidence, you provide the evidence. But for you to haul me as a former minister to come to legislature unless you bring me on unless you subpoena me, and then I show up and I answer your question based on the subpoena, and I can always plead my right not to self-incriminate, and I leave and go home. You can't force me.
Losing cases are not criminal.
These people had the chance.
I mean, you don't have a good
had the chance while the man was minister in city to call him before then in session.
That's
ask those questions. Not after the man leaves and become a private citizen. You're trying to I will tell you to pay me money. Oh, because in it.
Okay, that's all brother.
You owe no apology. You owe no apology.
No, so long you can guarantee that they will give me Zaza Kawa job, I'll be okay.
Okay, guys, what a great conversation here as usual. Aris, thank you for joining us this evening. Obviously, you added pageantry to the already firebrand conversation here on LPR. Always you are willing to come here. This is what we do. Don't mind these guys. These guys, they are all for a sort of collusion. They don't like me on this network
They
here
don't want
because
to mission so we can push a fire.
I
Don't
am
mind.
the only person. I
It's
the only
not,
person that don't have a party.
Alfonso.
This
Another
guy.
party echo chamber. We come here to scatter it.
I am the only free person here. 1%. Unity, formerly labeled LPP, got defeated. No good percent. John Rangway.
Man,
Unity.
when you're calling percentage on the platform, some all can be scared. When they say ugly animal, baboon can be worried. Yeah, because now when they got the one gongo,
And you get 1% say.
please attach it to who the 1%.
I have my moja man. I don't know. Even though he hang with Amos Sawyer, Tier One Gongo, them, but he say he just hanging there. We don't know. He went abroad the other day.
Mr. Sue, you got bad ways.
Okay, what?
You got bad
Gentlemen,
ways.
okay, the show tomorrow we can talk
Because
about
you
that.
know what?
Amos George, the
No,
show.
listen. You know what happened? You say people don't like you. Terry, their husband is the soul. In a time when you hear the message, the people ain't like me, they say go and pay a husband that man horse. Then you will get to know why he said people don't like him. So Mr. Sosa, we don't like him. Terry, what you call it, Elvis, go and pay your husband, Mr. So stand by him, then you know the reason.
Elvis already say your unity party echo chamber. The man already mean for your echo chamber.
Okay, guys. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. All right, sister, thank you so much.
Go here, boy, like this.
Something to you went slaughter, I go tomorrow, and then
All right, thank you for having me on. Good night to you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Jones. Well, folks, that does it this evening right here on the Diaspora Informative News Outlet, Liberia Public Radio. To all our viewers, listeners, your comments, your tweets, your interactions, and your input into this tonight program is, as usual, always over the top. We want to thank you so much for maintaining civility on this network at all times. This is what we're going to be doing. This is the conversation continuously we'll be having right here on this network. No one going to be left behind. We intend not to sanction people. We will not be judgmental into our argument, but give a fair shot. And of course, when the president-elect is seated, he's take charge. That his responsibility. It is no longer President George Weah. Whatever that he met, whatever needs to be fixed, he has to fix it. No excuse. Just find a way out. When there's no way, find it. Get out there. This is why we are saying when you are in this sort of business, you gotta go way ahead to make preparation. Don't wait until you get it. While he was here in the USA, I can say boldly, the chain of communication with respect to the president-elect coming to the United States, how to put this information out there, it was ridiculous, it was absurd. There were a lot of things that went wrong, and I later on tried to grab it here and there. Press statement come, retract it, fix it. You don't want to do that in the early stages of your governance process. You have to straighten your chain of information processing. That was a struggle with the CDC. That was a struggle with the CDC government. I think the information sharing aspect was mismanaged. They didn't never really have the people to really prosecute the talking point, the information aspect. Information's been withheld. As a result, media began to circumspect and began to make information. Some of them were not true. Some of them were true because they were not forthcoming. So, your information minister, or those who are going to be your presidential press secretary, that you got to be prepared, the debriefing, to be media friendly, get closer to the media, not necessarily to cave in, but let them to know, avoid people being apprehensive of what they are doing. Do not allow them to find a talking point of you. If you listen to people that see the Leslie Alonzo Carpet, Moses Washington, and all of those great people, they were a reservoir of exchange of communications and information processing. The late Emmanuel Buya. It's not just about yelling or screaming. No. You are a spokesperson of the government of the Republic of Liberia. You cannot distinguish that as a minister. Oh, today speaking as a minister, speaking as myself, not as the minister. No. And when you are speaking, you're not just only communicating to Liberians or to Liberia as a country, you are also speaking to the diplomats around your enclave, or you're speaking to the world and people to listen. So we need people of tolerance, people who are going to have enough information. Nothing wrong with media personnel asking you a question, and if you do not know that question, be honest and tell that person, I will get back to you with respect to that answer. I need to make sure. It's simple. When you start doing and like some kind of billy goat, and you think you want to entice your leader or think you want to make up something, and that's where the trouble comes in, because people are going to fact check the information that you are putting out there. So we hope the way the Unity Party government or Unity Party leadership mismanaged the president-elect visit, and they allow it to play in the cycle, and people begin to circumspect, people begin to make a guess game, people begin to throw things that it is because of how they did it. It was simple. He's no longer access for only Unity Party. He's an access to the Republic of Liberia as long he became president-elect. They started out saying thing, oh no, he's not president. So anytime he goes, he fly, and nobody wants to say anything. That's not how you're gonna do it. And I'm glad he said he's the president of all, no green, no blue. So he is an asset. We need to know his daily activities. What happens last night, what happens up to this time. And somebody with good tolerance, good communication skill, who will be a good listener and interact with the media. That's what we want to see happening, because when that happens, we're going to have a better Liberia. Well, folks, until then, I want to thank you so much. Fatima, I came just right in time, as usual, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Probably maybe for some reason a show out there to you, but to all of you, if this is the first time, we say thank you for sharing your evening, your morning, your afternoon with us, depending to your location. This is the Liberia Public Radio 10 Lpr-Tv. We intend to leave no one behind. It's all about Liberia. And this is why we are here, to check these people who are here to protect their own alligator because of political purposes. That's not going to happen. All must be held accountable, including we ourselves sit here to send these words out to you. Not that we are 100%. You can do better than what we are doing, but it's just a divisions of levels, and this is where we find ourselves. We must be honest. The entertainment, the amusement is too much, so there's no need for us to add drama to the already ongoing drama in the country, outside of the country. It is time to find solutions, discuss this issue, find solutions, express our views and our opinion for the good of our country. Until then, folks, thank you so much and have a pleasant weekend. We are here into the East Coast here. There's a heavy storm coming. Please stay safe and be blessed. If you are not a follower to Liberia Public Radio, we say subscribe to LPR both on the Facebook, YouTube channel, to LinkedIn, and our Twitter feed. You can also visit our official website, www.liberiapublicradio.com, for news, information, and international happenings across the world. And of course, if you have a program in Liberia, here in the USA, and in part of the world, you need that sort of commercials or advertisement, let us know. Have a pleasant evening. How many of us willing to let go? Bye-bye. Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
This is a beautiful song by Liberian gospel artist Jemima Walker in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia.
Let go again. Let it go. Yeah, me let it go. Master Jesus, let it go. Yeah, me let it go.